Well, maybe if you weren't an aggressive ornament smasher who wants to ruin other people's holiday memories, they would want you in Wyoming, god damn it. But they're probably worried that you'll set the elf on a shelf on fire in front of the frickin' kiddos. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Shelby and this is Shelby Reads. Happy holidays everybody. Here on Shelby Reads we talk about Sapphic books all day, every day. Sometimes we accidentally get a regular old LGBTQ book thrown in there. For those of you new to my channel, I am a femme for butch lesbian who has been out since 2013, and if there is some hot butch who wants to fix what a different butch broke, feel free to slide into my DMs at any point. I'm really going through it right now. I don't know if it'll work. I'm probably not ready, and I probably never will be, but at some point I'll have to get myself back out there. Not quite yet, but I mean, if you want to be friends in the DMs first. So today we're going to be talking about a holiday sapphic monster romance called Little Miss Santa Claus, spelled C-L-A-W-S, by Beka Westrup. Miss Mistletoe Claus is making Christmas Eve deliveries for the first time since her father passed away and her older brother fled the North Pole and his Claus birthright. When Missy makes a delivery to the wrong house, she meets Nicole Strobe, a nearly divorced workaholic who is nowhere close to a true believer. When the reindeer take off the sleigh and leave Missy stranded, only Nicole can help her save Christmas, but that will require from them the courage to believe in one another and, more importantly, themselves. I've been reading a lot of holiday romances. I have like 4 left. I'm gonna start Carol tonight, otherwise known as The Price of Salt. It's not exactly a Christmas book, but it kind of is at the same time. I only have a few more, but you should like, comment, and subscribe so you can see the very wrathful wrap-up I'm gonna have at the end of December, because I have read so many holiday books. I think by the end I'll be at like 8 or 9 or something, and a lot of them not good. It's sad to say, but like so many of them have made me furious. This is actually one of the ones that's done better, but I'm jaded this holiday season, so that might be part of it, but also the writing has just been lackluster overall. But don't forget to like, comment, subscribe so you can keep up with all of my shenanigans. I'm planning a lot of new content for the new year. Also, since we're talking about this book is what made me hit my goal of 100 books this year. Yay me! Oh my god, I did a great job. But I'm gonna keep going a little over, and then next year I want to do like 120 books. Not to spoil anything, but yeah, I'm really excited. So before we get into this book, I just want to give the author trigger warnings and then some additional from Storygraph. So the author trigger warnings are alcohol use, anxiety / panic attacks, themes of grief and loss, and explicit sexual content. So some additional from Storygraph are vomit, violence, death of a parent, and infidelity. I think the infidelity is very like, you have to squint to see it. Like technically, could you consider it? Well, I mean, no, there's actually 2 infidelity stuff. Okay, so one is like a very technicality type situation, and then the other one is straight up. Okay, might be. Now, let's quickly run through my fun little disclaimers, okay? Number 1, this review is not for the author or stands of the author's work or family or whatever. This is for other readers and to have a silly, goofy time. This review will contain all of the holly jolly spoilers. If you don't want any spoilers for this book because you really want to read it, click off now. I have a ton of other videos. Please go check them out. Just because I didn't love this book doesn't mean you won't. I actually liked this book quite a bit better than I thought I would, but is it a 5-star read? No. We'll talk about it. And lastly, this is just my opinion and I just want to have a silly, goofy little time with all of you. If you loved this book, good for you. I didn't find anything particularly offensive in this book, so for once, hooray! Oh wait, well, there's one little thing, but it's not, compared to the other books we read on this channel, not that bad, to be perfectly real with you, okay? Now we have to talk about the cover before we get started. I really hate when it's supposed to be a full-on monster romance and then one of them just looks like, the one that's supposed to be the monster just looks like a really hot white woman, and she doesn't really look monstrous at all. Like, as a lifelong Beauty and the Beast lover, I love retellings, I love the movies, I love all of it, right? I just have to say this is weak sauce. And this is something that I brought up in my Claimed by Her Bear review. Like, none of you watched that. Get over there and watch that right now. It's not even that long. But like, I talked about that there too. Like, I want you to commit. I want you to commit to the bit or don't. And I feel like this tries to in certain aspects, but like, we'll go over it. We'll go over it when we get there, okay? And the dedication reads, "For the shameless Krampus lovers." Don't get too excited, guys. Don't get too excited. So we start chapter 1 with Nicole. I hate that princess movies always end on the wedding day with one long romantic kiss. Their fates are sealed with a pretty bow that reads "the end." And we're all supposed to believe they live happily ever after in marital bliss. There's no such thing. It's during the after when real life happens. The boring and hard and ugly. And those movies did a huge disservice to little girls everywhere by making us all think otherwise. In real life, there's always an after, and it's rarely ever happy. I unfortunately related to this character way too heavily, especially like in all the divorce sections. Pour one out for me, guys. I didn't do this on purpose. So Nicole is going through a bitter divorce with her ex, Matt. She is at her mother's for Christmas, but her mother isn't going to be staying for Christmas Day because she's going to be going to Nicole's sister's, her other daughter, because Nicole's sister has kids and like a family and everything, so she's going to Wyoming to see them. We learn that Nicole is upper management at a thriving toy manufacturer, and she is still working on her phone even at her mom's house because it is her busiest time of the year. She's trying to tell herself that this is fine. This whole working on Christmas Eve thing. Her mom is decorating the fake tree for Nicole, but Nicole just isn't feeling that Christmas cheer. Although the stomach ache could be thanks to the bran muffins Mom forced down my throat earlier, they're currently slugging through my intestines in a very painful way. We should be eating real bread and sugary casseroles and peppermint sweets just for a couple of days. I'd cut out my own kidney for even a sliver of apple pie at this point. Okay, that was a little dramatic, I'll admit. She goes on to continue to criticize her mom's cooking, which is pretty bold for someone who is just crashing at her place, but go off. Who am I to stop people from complaining about their parents? Not me. I always complain about them in these videos, so. Her mom is being passive aggressive and huffing and puffing over the tree. Nicole asks her if she's alright and if she needs her to get her a Xanax, which is a little rude, is it not? Her mom tells her not to antagonize her, but she calls her Nikki, which just makes Nicole mad. She hates that nickname. But I understand what it's like being around your parents when every single thing they do annoys you. I can't talk because I am often that person. Nicole says, "I didn't realize I was being antagonistic. I was offering to help." Her mom says, "Well, it would be helpful if you got off your phone and helped me with this because I'm doing this for you because I'm not even gonna be here." This just makes Nicole think about how her mom isn't going to be there, and it will be her first Christmas ever alone because she hasn't talked to her sister in years and she wasn't invited to her sister's Christmas. And she's kicking herself for coming home to her mom after being asked for a divorce rather than just like crashing on a friend's place for Christmas back in Cincinnati. Nicole says, "I didn't ask you to put the tree up, and it might just be easier to pretend Christmas doesn't exist this year." Her mom brings up her complaining that it didn't feel like Christmas around here. Nicole says, "That's because you moved to Florida." Her mom explains her reasons for moving to Florida and says, "If you wanted snow, you should have vacationed somewhere else." Nicole says this isn't a vacation, and her mom says, "Yes, clearly you're a workaholic, Nikki. You're on your phone constantly. I'm right here, and you barely look at me. It's really no mystery why your marriage didn't work out." Oof, shots fired. Nicole says, "I'm not just gonna sit here and let you talk to me like that." She gets up and then thinks about how she refused to explain the divorce when she came home. I mean, I guess it kind of makes sense though that your mom is theorizing why you got a divorce then. Like, it's shitty for real, but still. Also, I cannot relate to this. I've told like everyone I know that I'm getting a divorce and exactly why. I could do a whole TED talk about it if anyone wanted me to. Isn't that just what my therapy sessions are though? Nicole doesn't know why her mom assumes it's her fault, especially when her mom went through divorce twice already. She's deciding to go to the guest room until her mom leaves. Then she's going to go to the grocery store and get some liquor and candy. I was just in Florida, so I looked it up, and you can't really get liquor from a grocery store, like not really. There are some liquor stores attached to grocery stores, but it's not really the same thing. I enjoy overusing Google to the max, okay? Her mom calls after her saying, "You run away from me just like you run away from Matt. And if you wanted to stay and work things out, you should have like stayed and actually fought for it. And people make mistakes. Nicole says this, there was nothing left worth fighting for. I was always the one to sacrifice in our relationship, time and money and more than that. I gave him everything. We moved to Cincinnati for him, for his career. When he wanted to go back to college, I supported him. Then when he dropped out and decided to switch careers to something that kept him traveling for months at a time, I supported him. When I found out he was cheating on me and he swore it was a one-time mistake, I forgave him. All because I wanted to work things out. He didn't make a mistake. Everything he did to hurt me was intentional. My staying with him for that long was the real mistake. He didn't want me. I was just convenient. I was there so he kept me like a fucking pet or something. The moment he found a way out of our marriage, he took it. So yeah, I am working a ton, but that's because I passed up so much professionally for that man and he gave me absolutely nothing. I'm taking what I need now. I did run away and it was long past time for me to do so. I related a lot to this speech, way more than I would like to. No notes here, it really hit the hyper self-aware person who knows exactly why things happened and when things aren't fixable, like right on the head. I wasn't really expecting that from this Sapphic monster romance, but we got it anyway. She thinks that everything she just said was true, but she was also really done with the whole thing. That she was just going through the motions for months and she still feels guilty for the final severing. Her mom is staring at her with pity on her face and Nicole doesn't want her compassion, even though she had thought that she wanted it. Her mom says, I didn't mean to make you upset. Let's just finish decorating the tree, okay? Because her mom has to leave for her flight to Wyoming soon. Nicole thinks that this is as close to an apology as she's gonna get from her mom, and she says, fine. As she starts helping her mom, she wishes that she felt even one iota of Christmas cheer. Same girl. Chapter 2, Nicole. I sit cross-legged in the living room on top of my mother's pristine faux fur rug. All month she has been adamant about keeping food away from it, but she's not here to gripe at me tonight. I have an array of cheap gas station snacks laid out on top of it, chips and chocolate and a full lemon meringue pie. I'm eating it straight out of the tin. Bran muffins, you can eat my ass. She's one of those characters, and I swear a lot of these characters in these books just have to kind of be like contrarians, like someone doesn't want you to do something so you're just gonna do it. I hate that. She has also had half a bottle of peppermint schnapps and she's crying while humming Jingle Bell Rock. She's watching a movie where the love interest looks like her ex. There's some love stuff on the screen and she's thinking about when she and Matt got married and there were a bunch of red flags that she buried during her marriage. Girl, same. She then does this scene from Legally Blonde.
And I'm never gonna lose you again.
You couldn't. You're a part of me. I love you.
Liar!
Except she throws half of the pie across the room. You get the picture. Same thing. She turns off the TV and she thinks that the Christmas tree decorating is what sent her spiraling. The divorce weighs on me. It's not that I'm losing Matt. It's that I'm losing years of my life to what turned out to be the wrong person. How could I have thought he was right? So this book is ridiculous, but all of the stuff about the divorce, I'm really feeling it. It's very on point for me, at least. She thinks about what her mother is doing in Wyoming, helping set out cookies for Santa, and helping tuck in her sister's kids, and she thinks that everybody has somebody to share Christmas with except for her. Hey, at least you don't have to work like I do. Like, comment, subscribe so I don't have to work there anymore. And even though my Christmas might be a little sad, I have my dogs and I have bought them so many presents because I adore them and I want to spoil them. Also, Sesame's birthday is the 28th, so unfortunately for him, it's a combined Christmas and birth. She decides she's gonna tear every ornament off the tree because she's losing it. Once the tub is full of the ornaments, she takes them to the side of the house and dumps them all out on the grass. She's in nothing but sleep shorts and a tank, but it's Florida, so it doesn't really matter. But it matters to her because it's not cold out. And she thinks some more about her ex because I'm afraid that's just how it goes. I fear that's just how it is. She then takes a metal rake and starts smashing them. See, this was very triggering for me because my ex threw out all of my ornaments in a manic episode. Like handmade ornaments and ornaments I've had since I was a baby. What do you mean you're destroying your mother's ornaments? She's letting you stay with her during a hard time and she tried to do something sort of nice for you and you just destroyed all of her ornaments. I would be committing a post-birth abortion if I was her mother. She goes until she's sober again and then she realizes she massively fucked up and she knows that there's no fixing them or replacing them. And she thinks that her mom probably loves these ornaments more than her. And she thinks, holy fuck, I'm a total loser. Yeah, kinda. She then starts spiraling again and thinks that maybe her mom was right and everything is her fault, including her marriage. She thinks that she needs her therapist more than ever, but she's been avoiding all of her sessions and she can't call her therapist right now because it's Christmas. She's breaking down and wondering why her family doesn't want her in Wyoming and why her father didn't want her. Well, maybe if you weren't an aggressive ornament smasher who wants to ruin other people's holiday memories, they would want you in Wyoming, god damn it. But they're probably worried that you'll set the elf on a shelf on fire in front of the frickin' kiddos. As she's having this crash out, she thinks she hears a thud above her and she thinks it came from the roof. She stands up and backs up a couple of steps, but she can't really see still, and she grabs the rake to defend herself with. She wants no part of this and thinks this is how horror movies start. I can't really think of any horror movies that take place in Florida, if I'm being honest with you, and I watch a lot of horror. Let me know any horror movies that take place in Florida. Maybe I can watch some. She runs back inside and starts locking all the doors she can think of, but she gets this feeling that she's not alone, and there is some rustling in the living room. She's worried it's a person or perhaps an animal, and if it's a really big dangerous animal, she's gonna have to call someone to deal with it. She forces herself to go to the living room where the sound is coming from, and when she peers in, she sees a woman in an oversized red coat and a red cap, and she has a long tail. And Nicole thinks this: my mother's house has been broken into by a goddamn Santa impersonator. That would be my first thought too, I can't even lie to you. And she gasps because this woman is beautiful with straight silver hair and piercing blue eyes, and she's holding the bag of cookies that Nicole left on the floor. And this beautiful woman says, "Oh, sugar plums." She literally refuses to swear throughout this whole book, and it annoys the fuck out of me. I love swearing. I would do it all day if I could. Nicole is gonna make a run for it, but she trips over some fake plants and she almost impaled herself on the rake she brought like a dumbass. And the last thing she hears as she hits her head on the wall is a bunch of tiny bells. Chapter 3, Nicole. She comes to, she hasn't been out for long. She sees the intruder kneel beside her and the intruder is freaking out. She refuses to swear more, saying, "Mother elfing Frost. I hate it here, just say fuck, I'm begging you." The intruder says, "Please wake up. Sorry I scared you. You were supposed to be asleep." There are more noises on the roof and the Santa impersonator person tells Blitzen to simmer down, and Nicole has no idea what's going on, which is kind of a fair reaction for a grown adult, honestly. The intruder is glad that she's waking up and asks if she's okay, but she's kind of just word vomiting at her. But Nicole thinks that her voice is nice, all husky and warm. If the intruder was a butch, I would get it more. But you know me, I'm attracted to butches. I can't help being who I am. And Nicole opens her eyes and thinks she's even more beautiful at second glance. Why can't a butch Krampus figure come and fix my romance problems on Christmas? I guess it's not Christmas yet, so I shouldn't count it out yet. Nicole thinks who wouldn't want to go easy on a face like that, but the intruder is out of luck because Nicole is having a really, really bad day. So she knocks the intruder backwards and then rushes to get her phone, but like a horror movie, her phone is dead. And I don't get these people because I never let my phone die. Is it because my ADHD has made me addicted to TikTok? Absolutely, but still. It's like a mini computer in your pocket. What if you have a dinosaur question at 1 a.m.? What then? You didn't charge your phone. Stupid. The intruder stalks over saying this: "That was very naughty of you, Cynthia, to think I brought you a present." She points at me as she stalks forward and her cherub-like features start to look downright sinister. "I get that this job doesn't allow for a lot of personal interaction, but I think I deserve a little elfin respect on delivery day." I would be shitting bricks if this happened to me. And Nicole is too. She's kind of awful in a lot of situations, but at least she has some relatable moments. "Look," I start tremulously, "I don't know what you're doing here or who you think I am, but you have the wrong girl. You have the wrong house. Please leave." Her eyes turn black. "No, I don't think I will. I think you owe me an apology." "An apology?" I scoffed. "No fucking way. You are the one breaking and entering, which is a federal offense, by the way. I'm not apologizing for shit. I already called the cops, so you better hurry up and call your friend on the roof so you can both fuck right off before they get here." She takes one slow, menacing step toward me. "You didn't call the police." "Of course I did." My throat swells as I retreat another step. "They're on the phone right now." The smile that spreads over her face is grotesque, her face looking like it's literally morphing before my eyes. Her teeth elongate and sharpen to points. Her skin pales and takes on a silvery sheen, and her eyes sink into her face until they look like hollows void of all light. I love the idea of getting freaky with Krampus a little bit. It makes my little goth heart sing. But I hate that this bitch is Santa and Krampus at the same time. I feel like nobody wants to commit to monster smut anymore. If you guys know any good Sapphic monster romances, please let me know in the comments. I haven't found any good ones yet. Nicole staggers back until she hits the Christmas tree and thinks that she's seeing things. Santa Krampus says, "Do you think Santa can't tell when you lie? I can now make it up to me by getting on your knees." Nicole does not want to do this. There is some arguing about it. For the record, I don't want Nicole to do it either. It's not the act necessarily, it's that it's some creep who broke into your house who's forcing you to do it. Nicole comes to the conclusion that the sooner she apologizes, the sooner that this woman will leave. So she gets on her knees and Santa tells her to kiss her boots. Nicole does not want to do this. I shift my glare up to face her. Are you insane? Her eyes flash black again as a guttural growl wraps around me. A blast of icy wind sweeps through the air between us, lifting her silver hair in an ethereal fan. The skin on her face turns sallow and gray as her black and red nails extend into claws. What the fuck is going on? What do you think? Is this better? How insane do I look to you now? I lean as far back as I can and a few of the tree branches dig into the back of my head. Stop, I whisper, please. You know how to make this stop. See, this is where you lost me because this was not supposed to be a dark romance, so I don't get why this shit is in here. Kissing someone's boot is kind of like deeply sexual, and if the other person doesn't want it, it's gross. We could have made it consensual, but I guess that's too much to ask for these days. See my other videos. Nicole leans in and Santa smells like pine and fresh cookies.
Yeah, no shit, honey!
So Nicole just swallows her pride and she kisses the boots. She also wants an apology, like verbally, and she wants it for pushing her and for calling her crazy, and also the lying. So Nicole gives the verbal apologies. And after, Santa says, "There we go, good girl. Don't you feel better? I certainly do." She chuckles to herself as she straightens. "If you'll excuse me, I have 3 more continents to deliver to before dawn. Good night, Cynthia. Enjoy your present." Again, as this was coerced at bare minimum, I hated this. Santa spins around and the coat is like way too big for her and like dragging around. And Nicole's thinking to herself this after this whole thing. I should be angry with her, disgusted by the way she humiliated me, but for some reason I'm not. I feel more in control. I do feel better. I'm so fucking confused. I don't know why you feel better. That is degrading if you don't want it. What are we talking about? Santa starts looking around for something, but Nicole says, "Hold on, my name isn't Cynthia." Santa says, "Of course it is," and says the address. Nicole says, "No, that's next door." Santa says, "Gobdrops and fruitcake." And she's angry that she hasn't gotten a handle on the sleigh yet. There's suddenly more thudding on the roof, but it's even louder. Santa yells at Rudolph, telling him not to get riled up, but there are some dragging sounds on the shingles. She starts yelling at them that she doesn't have the thing she was looking for, and she then sprints out of the living room toward the front door. Nicole doesn't know why, but she does want to see what's going on. Girl, I would want to see too if I was surviving all this bullshit. She sees the reindeer driving the sleigh through the air, and she's convinced she's concussed or hallucinating, or the person who's jumping up and down is exactly who she looks like. But she's leaning towards this as a concussion or a really weird cheese dream. But there go the reindeer going far, far away. And then Santa is having a panic attack on Nicole's mother's lawn. And Nicole can tell this is Santa's first panic attack. Oh, what a lucky, sweet summer child. Or winter child, I suppose. Santa is spiraling because this is her first Christmas on the job and everything is falling apart. Nicole has her breathing calmly because she has had panic attacks before. Same girl, but that breathing shit doesn't do anything for me. Santa is worried her heart will give out, but Nicole reassures her and then asks if she's okay. Santa says, "Well, I guess as okay as I can be when I just lost my father's sleigh. Da da da." Nicole suggests calling him to just tell him what happened, that nobody gets their job 100% right on their first day, but she's sure that he would help her. But the intruder tells her that her dad is dead. Nicole says she's sorry and she really wishes she could take all of those words back now. And Santa's lip starts trembling. So Nicole thinks that she must be having a shittier night than I am. Is she having a shittier night than you are? I don't think so, girl. I don't think so. But she says we can find it ourselves unless it's in another country because I don't have a passport. Santa says she thinks that they're close because she can sense them. They're at some kind of school in a small town. And lucky for her, Nicole knows that there is a university in the next town over, which is like where Santa thinks they might be. And Santa doesn't know how they're gonna walk there and still have enough time. But Nicole says, well, just borrow my car. Well, my mom's car. Santa checks to see if she's really okay with that. But Nicole just thinks, why the fuck not? This is a dream. And if it is real, who wouldn't help Santa? She's not a total Scrooge yet. Too bad for her that I'm
The Grinch!
I just have some negative feelings about Christmas, I fear. I've been thinking about celebrating Yule instead, getting in touch with British paganism since nearly my whole family comes from Britain at one point or another. Also, I think if you're a certain percentage of British, they should be forced to take you back. I didn't ask for my shitty ancestors to colonize this horrible country. Disclaimer, it's awful because of the shitty white people and the terrible administration, to be clear. Hey guys, it's editing Shelby. I don't know if you could tell, but it's snowing really bad and I didn't miss it. I just like accidentally lost some footage, I guess. So it's not that long and you won't have to suffer my face that long. Okay, I promise. Santa stares at her for a minute and then reads Nicole like she's in the FBI and she has been personally watching her phone. And she says this year that Nicole has been very naughty, looking at the crushed ornaments. And Nicole says, believe me, I know. But Santa says that they can make it right together. Nicole can drive the car because Santa has never driven a car. And in return, Santa will replace all of her mom's ornaments and her mom will never be able to tell the difference. Nicole says that she has a deal and Santa introduces herself as Mistletoe Claus, but you can call me Missy. I personally like the name Mistletoe better, but that's just a personal preference. Chapter 4, Missy. When I imagined my future as a young elfling, I never thought it would look like this. I mean, as I got older, I definitely considered the possibility of a late night road trip in the human realm with a woman as pretty as Nicole, but the circumstances of that fantasy were quite a bit different than the current ones. I'm glad that we're all having a slightly longer than quarter life crisis, okay? She thinks about her dad warning her not to leave the reindeer alone outside of the North Pole, especially that pesky Rudolph.
It is a little pink.
He'll grow out of it, I think.
Rudolph can never catch a fucking break. Justice for Rudolph. She thinks about how she has been fucking up as Santa because it was supposed to be her dad or her brother. They get into some kind of sports car, which we learned her mom got in a midlife crisis, and it's on a bunch of men's Christmas lists. I don't care about cars though, so I don't know what's so special about this. It's a metal box that takes you places and does nothing but cost you money, and it depreciates the second you take it off of the lot. I don't get this shit. Santa, aka Missy, changes the depressing music to Christmas music. Nicole reminds her to buckle up. You don't have to do that in my state. Live free or die, motherfucker. Honestly, my state's motto should probably change to live free, maybe, and die. They go over how the sleigh doesn't have safety belts because Santa's boots adhere to the base and it's easier to steer while standing up, if you say so. Missy says you must have a ton of questions for me, I'll answer them, and she only says this because she makes people forget that she's Santa, but especially adults. Until now the rule never bothered her, but there's obviously something about Nicole, guys. Ornament smashing Nicole. But Nicole has no questions and she thinks they should focus on getting the sleigh back. Santa finds this deeply disappointing. We find out that she's half elf and half human. Woo! I didn't want an elf. I wanted Krampus. And I didn't want Krampus to shapeshift into a hot white woman. Is there nothing sacred here? Santa tries to get her to ask questions. Nicole says it's not that complicated and thanks for 19% of total retail sales in the American market. I have a job because of you. I don't need to know anything more than that. Missy says her job isn't just presents. And Nicole says, oh yeah? What is Santa about though?
That's what it's all about, isn't it? That's what it's always been about. Gift. Gift. Gift, 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 gift.
Missy says it's about belief in a better world, and most Christmas wishes aren't for physical items at all. Nicole is very skeptical about this, and Missy pulls out a whole, your wish wasn't. Nicole says, I didn't ask Santa for anything. But Missy knows that she wished for something. All she wanted this year was some kind of family and belonging, but joy isn't something that can be given. It's something you have to create for yourself. I don't know if I agree with that one, but go off. Nicole gets so angry that she almost drives them into a truck. Missy grabs the wheel and then puts them back in their lane. But don't worry, Nicole smells really good, like jasmine and candied strawberries. That's definitely something I was worried about. Also, sometimes even hot adults smell like BO, or in Nicole's case, she drank half a bottle of peppermint schnapps. You don't think she smells a little bit boozy still? Nicole finally calms down and says this: "You have no right to say something like that to me," she says in a throaty whisper. "We met approximately 30 seconds ago, and the last I looked, this car isn't my therapist's office. Where do you get off?" I scoff. "Hopefully not here. You're driving us into another car because you're angry with me." Honestly, I'm kind of team Nicole with this one. It must be easy to be holly and jolly and happy all the fucking time when you grew up with literal Santa as your dad and you don't have to pay any bills in the fucking North Pole. We then go over that Nicole thinks that this is a dream and Missy can't afford her trying to sabotage Christmas, so she pinches Nicole and convinces her that she is in fact awake. They then go over how Missy's dad died. Missy doesn't want to, but they will. "How did he die?" she asks as if she needed to clarify. "I don't want to talk about that." "Seriously?" Nicole presses, though her voice is entirely gentle. "You just told me in no uncertain terms that I am the source of my own unhappiness." I sigh. "That's not what I meant." She continues. "It just seems a little hypocritical for you to shut down when you expect me to open up to you about my family. I'm not judging anything. I don't even have naughty or nice lists to place anyone on, so you know, safe place and all that." I kind of agree with the judgment thing. Like, it's always kind of felt like surveillance of children. I feel like Elf on a Shelf kind of made it worse. But Missy thinks it doesn't completely work like that because it's really hard to get on the naughty list if you're a kid. Yeah, she's not a kid, so what the fuck does that have to do with anything? Her dad died of a heart attack, and there's the usual "I'm sorry." And then Missy starts whinging about how she's been messing everything up. Nicole says, "I don't know, Missy, you kind of look good in red."
Bitch, you better be joking.
"She made you kiss her boots. She's a straight up weirdo. If she wasn't attractive to you, would you feel this way? Probably no." Missy kept his coat and the elves wanted to hem it, but she couldn't let them. But she regrets it now because it's been dragging everywhere and getting dirty. Nicole doesn't think it's silly. She thinks it's sweet to want to hold on to that part of your dad. Missy hopes that he's still with her in some way because he's the only person who can help her. Nicole's like, "Well, you must have known that this was coming at some point." And Missy says, "I promise no one in the North Pole saw this coming." And Nicole's like, "No, I didn't mean the heart attack. I meant your succession. They must have tried to prepare you." Missy says no because her older brother Christopher was supposed to be Santa, but he didn't want it, and he left one day and then called her from the Caribbean to tell her that the job was hers permanently. Nicole asks if this is what she wants to do, to be Santa, even though she doesn't know what she's doing. And Missy tells her that she loves the North Pole and Christmas, the snow and the elves, and she's always admired her father's work, and she does want to do it. She's just not sure if she's cut out for it. Nicole tells her don't overthink it. Passion for your work is like half the battle, and then everything else is just practice. Gotta disagree with you there, girl. Passion cannot replace a lot of things. Just saying from experience, okay? Santa then looks out the window and is in awe of the Christmas lights, and when she says so, Nicole says she never really thought of them like that and that they are beautiful. Chapter 5, Nicole. They get to the university and the reindeer landed at the fraternity and the fraternity is having an absolute rager on Christmas Eve, and all of the reindeer are unhitched from the sleigh. A handful of drunk frat boys are messing with them, jingling their bells and herding them around the yard, and one is even trying to climb onto Dancer's back. Missy spots him the same moment I do, and she growls so loud it rumbles the entire cart. Naughty. Dear. I know what I signed up for, but still. And then Missy runs up and is like, "Get off of him, you miserable sack of coal." And these guys are drunk, okay? Like, I didn't go to a real university. I went to art school, and then when I got my second degree, I did online school. So like, I've never seen one. But we all know what they're supposed to be like the worst place to be. And he's like, "Hey, chill out." And she's like, "These are my reindeer. I'm not gonna chill out. And where is my bag of presents?" And she starts like screeching. And then the frat boy is like, "Crazy bitch." He's like, what the fuck? And Nicole's like, you're gonna see an even crazier bitch if you don't answer Santa's questions. And there's another kid who comes and is like, hey, we didn't know that this like belonged to anyone. Like, this was a mistake. The bag is inside. And one of the guys is like, dude. And he's like, will you guys like shut up? We messed up Santa's sleigh on Christmas Eve. Like, that's bad. And he's like, I'll make sure that the reindeer are like returned to where they're supposed to go for you, okay? And she's just like, Gregory Short, 21 years old, true believer. And I'm like, oh my god, okay. And he's like, yes, ma'am. And she's like, I'll leave your present in the house. And she's like, don't forget to call your nephews tomorrow, they miss you. The Santa being omnipotent shit is so scary to me. Like, I would not want to be in a relationship with Santa, but that's me. Page break. And they're going into the frat house and Nicole's like, where are we going? And she's like, it's up there. And she's like, how do you know? And she's just like, I can tell. And she can tell everything, okay? Of course she can. I grumbled to myself as I shoulder my way up the stairs, maneuvering around no less than 3 horny couples. Seeing them kiss makes my skin itch. They're happy right now, but that won't last. One or both of them will eventually lose interest. That's just how love works. I guess they might as well enjoy it while they can. I just don't want to see it. Call it jealousy or bitterness or whatever. It's what I feel. Me looking at butch femme couples on TikTok right now. Like, they're so cute and I'm so happy for them, but I'm almost like, rude. Right in front of my salad. And Nicole's like, can you wait for me, please? And Missy's like, I don't have time to wait for you. Beat it up. Then they get to, you know, a door upstairs and Missy is like, oh, it's in there. The overwhelming urge to walk behind her washes over me, to wrap my arms around her from behind and press my face into the side of her neck. When my gaze finally shifts to the others in the room, my stomach flips and I clear my head with a shake. I have no idea where that came from. She's Santa and I was definitely just looking at her ass. It's a nice ass. See, I hate like this like really quick insta attraction whatever thing. Like, I don't think I'm demisexual. I mean, maybe, but like I'm attracted to people when I'm not romantically interested in them, but like not to this degree, I would say. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, oh yeah, that person's hot. But if I talked to you and all you talk about is rugby, I'm not gonna care. I'm gonna be like, oh yeah, see ya. Like, I can't listen to you talk about rugby for 42 hours. No. It was just always really annoying to me. And then Nicole goes over in her own brain like, it's no surprise that I like am attracted to her. She's gorgeous and I've had girlfriends before, but she's like, the sexual relationships I've had with women usually begin as friendships. We have to get close emotionally before I feel butterflies. For whatever reason, I already feel close to Missy, but maybe that's simply because she's Santa. She knows my deepest desires, my flaws. It's difficult not to feel close to her. Well, I mean, I guess if this was a butch and I wouldn't have to explain all of my flaws and all of my deep insecurities and all of my like problems and now my trust issues, that would be pretty cool. So Krampus, butch Krampus, hit me up. There were a bunch of guys in the room and they're like, who ordered like the sexy Santagram? That's weird. And then she's like, that bag is mine. And one of them is like, see something you like, Santa? I'd like to shove candy cane so far into my ears, the drums rupture. His voice is so high pitched, I wonder if his balls have even dropped. She's talking about the bag. I snap, dumbass.
Dumbass.
Like, what? Okay. And then she thinks about how men don't see much when they look at her, like even the drunk ones. She's perfectly adequate at best and only mildly pretty. And the only exceptional thing about her is her long legs. And he's like, oh, this bag we found on our lawn, finders keepers. You shouldn't have lost track of your sleigh, honey, but I'll do a trade. And Missy's like, it's okay, Nicole, I'll handle this. She's like, he wants to keep my presents. We'll just have to wait patiently and see how attached he is to them once they start misbehaving. And Nicole's ready to ask her what she means, but then someone screams and these objects start coming to life. And now there's like snow in here and Nicole doesn't know how, but it's freezing and the boys are like shuddering and Missy's smiling. Her face starts to turn more Krampusy, but not like completely or whatever. And there are horns sprouting from the top of her head and Nicole thinks that's new. She's like, luckily I've already been jump scared by Santa a few times tonight, so I'm not totally shell shocked. But the frat bros aren't so lucky. And one is like crying. And they're like, take the bag, just like make it stop. And so Missy goes back to normal and the toys all topple over and it's all good. And she puts the bag over her shoulder and she's going into the hall and Nicole gives them the bird before following her out. But when she sees Missy, she's like, something is wrong with her. And she's like squeezing herself and trying to slow her breathing. And Nicole's like, what is it? Are you okay? And Missy is like, I'm sorry. And she's like, for what? And she's like, subjecting you to that. Like, that sort of magic doesn't bode well for the Christmas spirit. And Nicole's like, don't be sorry, that was fucking awesome. And Missy is like, my papa used to call it his Krampus. I'm like, ah. Chapter 6, Missy. And Nicole's like, so you're saying Santa and Krampus are the same person? Like some kind of Christmas Jekyll and Hyde situation. Not exactly. Chuckling nervously, I shift the bag higher on my shoulder. The Krampus is just an elf's shadow, our moon side, so to speak. We all have one. And she's thinking this is probably the easiest way for her to explain this to someone else. And then there's like this crazy lore, so I guess I'll just read it, okay? Our kind were once stars, our spirits living amidst the darkness, and it was impossible not to take some of that dark with us when we fell. The originals passed it down to us, and I will pass it down to my children someday, if I ever have them. Light and dark, they must exist together or not at all. It is the gift and curse of our existence, to balance the delicate cosmos, just like life and death, both come, both linger, and essentially so do we. We are never to be seen, but always remembered, immortalized in a passing season. All eternal spirits like me live on that familiar darkness, Santa Claus, Mother Earth, Maiden Spring, and so many others. Say our name, dream us. That's as real as we get. We do not belong to Earth, though there are others like us who do. Santa's kind of an alien. It's kind of hard to explain. But Nicole's like, whatever she is, I like her. But Missy's already starting to feel a little bit sick about having to memory wipe Nicole at some point. And Missy thinks she might be feeling some type of way because this is the first watcher that she's had on a job, which is just like a human who watches Santa do the shit, you know. And Missy needs to go to the bathroom, but she thinks that there is someone crying in the bathroom of this fraternity. And Nicole is like, well, this is a fraternity, so like it's not surprising. And the person is like, no one's crying, go away. Nicole's like, right, well now I'm convinced. It must just be a ghost. But Missy tugs the shower curtain open and sees that there's a young woman who's been crying and she's been drinking. And she's like, Annie Travis, what are you doing here on Christmas Eve? And she's like, who are you? And she's like, you know who I am. And she's like, this just happens to be the first time we've met, thank you. And she's like, I'm not drunk enough for this. She's like, you're drunk enough to be crying in a gross bathroom though. She's like, I'm not drunk. She's like, of course you're not. You're a good girl. You always have been. She's like, I don't even like drinking. This is dumb. And she's like, what are you crying about? Like, also, shouldn't you be in Los Angeles for Christmas? And she's like, I failed a class. Like, I can't go home and face them. They'll be so disappointed in me. And Missy's like, I'm sure that's not true. And she's like, it is true. Do you know how much college costs these days? They like took out a second mortgage and I'm wasting it. And Nicole's like, now it's all making sense. And I'm like, that's fair. Missy's like, your parents love you even when you fail. And Nicole's like, don't get your hopes up, Santa. And she's like, excuse you, Nicole, they do. And then she tells Annie that her parents miss her and that they care more about her being home for Christmas than they do about her failing one class, especially when she got like exceptional marks in all her other classes. And she's like, see, this is just like a little hiccup, like life is full of them. Don't push people away just because you're afraid of causing them pain. Pain is part of life and loving, and all you can do is keep trying. And then she like pulls out a plane ticket and just gives it to Annie. Is like, go on. And she like takes it. And Santa's like, that's a good girl, which in all of these contexts is creepy to me, but whatever. And Nicole scoffs at this. And she's like, can I talk to you in the hallway? She's like, where did this horrible attitude come from when they're alone? And she's like, I can't believe you told that girl to go home for Christmas. You don't even know her. She's like, I do know her. She wanted to go home. She's just scared. And then Nicole says, that's not true, you know. We're all just strapped together in this rickety old roller coaster, hurtling through life with a rush of adrenaline and terror, but pretty soon we come down. And that's when we realize exactly how fucked up it all is. Families are broken, all of them. If you need approval from your parents to be truly happy, then you've already failed yourself. I kind of agree because like, this is so unpopular for like, if I get on the wrong side of YouTube or TikTok on, but you don't get to pick your parents. You don't. And a lot of parents aren't good people and their love is conditional. It's not supposed to be, but it is. So kind of on Team Nicole right now, okay? And Missy is like, okay, that conversation with Annie really set her off because she's having a really bad time. That's what this is about. And she's like, are you talking about her or are you talking about yourself? She's like, and if I'm not mistaken, you wanted to be home for Christmas too. And the only difference between you and her is that she still has a home to go back to. Ooh. And then Nicole flinches and Missy almost regrets it. But then Nicole says, it doesn't even matter. Look at you. You have the entire North Pole behind you, but you're still alone on Christmas Eve, fighting against your own shortcomings for the sake of a joy you can't even feel anymore. Don't think I didn't notice. You're not happy. This whole Santa thing is just a mask. There's no one waiting up for you, no one to make proud. You are as alone as I am. And trust me when I say sometimes life is easier that way. I don't know if it is easier because it can be lonely. At the same time, I do get where Nicole is coming from personally. Hot take. And Missy thinks to herself she knows she's projecting, but, and that it's like not personal, but she can't stop herself from taking it that way. And she thinks to herself that she is at least like partially right, and that she is alone. Like half of her family is dead and the other half has left her behind because her brother is God knows where, and her younger sister is at a boarding school for like the magically gifted for at least 2 more years. And no one wants her with her like grieving sitting at their table. And she has to battle the urge not to shift back into her Krampus. And she thinks that like she didn't do anything to deserve the way that Nicole is talking to her right now. Agree to disagree, I don't know. But it's her first Christmas without her dad, so she's having a really difficult time. And she's like direly behind on delivering presents, and she's probably not going to make it on her own, and she just needs to accept that, and that she can't make her father proud, and that humans don't appreciate the legacy he created. And sooner or later, the harvestable magic that is from Earth that feeds the North Pole and its electric atmosphere will run out, and then we'll have to move on anyway. A new galaxy, a new Earth, you know? Like, why not just give up on this now? Like, I can't feel any joy right now. Maybe I should be a little naughty too. She's like, maybe you're right. And then she gives Nicole the coat and the bag. Is like, keep those things safe for me. I'll pick them up from your house in the morning. And Nicole's like, wait, what, why? And she's like, because I'm a messy elfin drunk. Chapter 7, Nicole. Nicole is looking for Missy all around, and they're like the couples that are now practically naked on the stairway. And she's trying to track down Missy, but Missy is way faster than her and isn't carrying anything. And the crowd is kind of pushing Nicole back and forth. She keeps trying to shout her name, but it's not working. And then Missy gets on the coffee table with a vodka bottle and says, let's party, Grinches. And Nicole thinks it's impossible not to feel her magnetism. I'm like, okay, girl, you say so. And she's just like looking at how beautiful she is. She has tattoos. Which characters in these books aren't covered in tattoos? I have tattoos, but like it gets old. You know? And she thinks that other than Santa, this girl is a goddamn work of art. Okay. And then Missy is telling the DJ to turn up the music. And Nicole's getting knocked back and forth in every direction. She doesn't want to leave Missy like this though, so she's trying to stubbornly stay in the same spot. She's calling her name again, but Missy's not hearing her. And Missy's now sharing some vodka with another woman, and that's making Nicole feel all jealous. After a moment, I realize it's anger burning through my veins, hot and sticky and impossible to ignore. I want to scream. I want to rage. I want to punt that pretty college student right off these premises so hard that she would feel the imprint of my foot on her ass for days. I am the one here with Santa. I am the one helping her save Christmas. If anyone deserves to dance with that beautiful creature, it's me. But I have no right to feel possessive over Missy, do I? I shouldn't feel as if she owes me something because she doesn't. See, like, we love the feeling of jealousy, but also the like, this isn't rational, like in the back, you know, in your brain, where you're like, I feel jealous, but this isn't rational. Yeah, it's not rational because you just met her. It's been a couple hours max. So Nicole retreats to the front of the house because she's like, well, I'm not getting anywhere here. And she's like, why am I bothering helping her with this? She doesn't need me. No one needs me. Like, it's not my responsibility to save Christmas. It's not my job to watch Santa be drunk and absolutely ridiculous. Okay. Good list guy Gregory is out there petting the reindeer. So sweet. And he's like, hey, where's Santa? She's like tongue deep in some college chick's mouth by now, probably, like under her breath. I'm overcome by very strange, very unwarranted pangs of jealousy, which is ridiculous. I don't even know if she likes girls like that. The way she smiled at me after I kissed her boots earlier tonight has filled my head with all kinds of wild ideas. Call me crazy, but getting on my knees for her made me feel special. Now I just feel dumb. I don't like the thought of her making anyone else do that. Kiss her, that is, even if it's just her boots. Oh, yeah, you're being weird. I would want to not be in the same state as her personally. And she's like, if she wants to get wasted, fuck her too, I guess. And Gregory's just like, what are we talking about? Because he didn't really hear, I don't think. And she's like, Santa is still inside. Like, if you want to sit on her lap and tell her your secrets or take body shots off her or something, you should probably hurry because there's already a line. And he's like stumbling across the yard and goes back inside. And she stomps over to the convertible and is digging her keys out. But she's kind of confused because there's frost on the windows, and as we established, this is Florida. And then she sees like more ice on the grass and the ground, and she sees a flicker of movement. And she sees a woman with long black hair and a navy blue cloak wrapped around her shoulders step forward, and she's thin and tall, has delicate facial features, you know, but she looks downright wolfish. And she's near the sleigh, and Nicole is like, is she gonna steal the reindeer. And so she rushes over and is like, hey, get out of here. And the woman's like, oh, I thought we were free of you. What do you want? She's like, what do I want? What do you want? It's like, why are you climbing on the sleigh? And the other woman's like, I don't see how this is your business. And she's like, Santa asked me to keep her bag of presents safe, so I think it is my business. And she's like, it looks like you're about to abandon her altogether. And the presents, like, that's not keeping it safe, is it? She's like, you're not suited for such responsibility. You're a human. You're a skeptic. So like, go home and I'm gonna take care of things. And Nicole's like, and who exactly are you? And she's like, I'm Jack Frost. Missy is an old friend of mine. Is this gonna be like those Jack Frost ex Elsa fics? It's not, just so you know. And then she's just like, a friend. And she's like, yes, which makes me the perfect person to step in for her. I know the delivery route, I know the rules, and I also have magic that can help make this, you know, go faster because of all the lost fucking time. Because she wasted a lot of time with you. She's like, you weren't helping her, you know, like you were hindering her, and she should have called me when the reindeer spooked. And Nicole's like, how do you know the reindeer spooked? Her eyes widen slightly as she realizes what she let slip. There's no way she could have known the reindeer spooked unless she had been there on my mother's roof. She tries to cover it up with a laugh. Well, it's obvious, isn't it? How else would they have ended up here? Right, well, Missy didn't mention you, so I think you should leave, I snipe. And Jack Frost is like, I don't think that's the best course of action. Someone has to deliver the presents or Christmas will be ruined. I warned her about this and she's clearly not ready, but you are. And Jack Frost is like, of course. I'm a high elf who rules over this season. I was born ready for this. And Nicole's like, and what exactly would you do differently, bitch? And Jack's like, everything. You know, I'm kind of on Jack's side. Jack doesn't deserve all the hate, all right? And Rudolph turns to stare at Jack a little bit and is like glaring. He doesn't look very happy. And Nicole thinks to herself that she doesn't like how Jack is sounding and that Missy had been ready. Like, she was happy to get the job done. Like, if anything, it was my bad attitude that pushed her over the edge, and I know that. And she's thinking to herself, it's one thing to leave her stuff here. It's another thing entirely to let someone else replace her, especially without her knowing. And, you know, besides, that's her dad's coat. And I don't trust this woman. And she's like, Missy's gonna deliver the rest of the presents. You can go. She's like, when? I don't see her. She's so cunty. She's like, she's going to do it. I'll make sure that she gets like the sleigh back on the road and we're gonna get it done. And Jack's like, you really think you can manage that? And she's like, I think I'll manage it just fine. Toy distribution is actually my job. And Jack kind of looks like she tasted something sour and is like, I see. And Nicole can feel her displeasure. And Nicole says, I have it all handled. I'm gonna get Missy. And I think it's best if you're gone by the time we get back out here. And Jack Frost is pretty much like, don't say I didn't. Say I didn't warn ya. I used to like Taylor Swift's music. Ew. And she's also just like, if you think you mean something to Missy, you don't. It's like, you're human, and at the end of the night, you won't remember her at all. And Nicole's like, what are you talking about? And Jack's like, ask her or don't. It won't matter. And tonight will end in disaster without me. But go ahead and have fun playing Santa's helper while you still can. And she like draws her cloak around herself and she is out of here. And Nicole thinks to herself, I have no choice but to retrieve Missy from that stupid frat house. Chapter 8, Missy. Missy is partying. She is wasted. And she can't really remember why she needed to get drunk, but it's working. And Missy doesn't want to talk to anyone. She's kind of like slapping frat bros away because if she talks to them, she'll see like their dreams and like if they've been naughty or nice or whatever. And she doesn't want to deal with that right now. And she thinks that they don't appreciate what we do. They're selfish humans. And then she sees Nicole. She's very drunk and she's like slurring. She's like, Nicole, you're back. And she's like, Missy, we gotta go. And Missy's like, I love this song though. And she's like, do you even know what this song is about? Because it's like a little perverted. And she's like, I might be Santa, but I'm no saint. I had a life before this, you know. I went to parties. I was wild. And Nicole looks confused and Missy is like, why does that shock you? She's like, you think us Clauses don't know how to be naughty? I'm the naughtiest. And Nicole's like, you're the drunkest at the very least. She's like, I don't know. My brother might have me beat on that front. And Nicole's like, I really need to talk to you outside. And Missy's like, I don't want to walk. I want to dance because she's drunk. She's like, Missy, this is important. This is about Christmas. And she's like, that's what I've been doing this whole time, thinking about Christmas. And look where it got me. She's like, look where it got my father. Clearly, I'm better at staying far away from Christmas. Missy, you're Santa Claus. Millions of children all around the world appreciate you. They adore you. She steps forward and reaches for me, but I back away until they resent sent me, tell him nothing more than a fairy tale they keep alive for their children. Here, I'm always real. I can be seen and felt. I just want to be real again. I'm like, that's sad. It's a little sad. And Nicole's like, I know this night has been hard for you. She's like, but it's not over yet and you can't just stop trying. So like, give me one more chance to help you do what you love, Missy. Like, give me one more chance to help you and I can explain everything if you just come outside and you'll feel better after. And Missy is like, oh my God, she means it. She means all of it. And she's like, I'll come outside, but not until you dance.
Dance, water, dance!
And Nicole's like, okay, I guess I can't argue with that one dance. And Nicole's like, I'm not much of a dancer though, so don't get too excited. And our girl Santa here is like, holly bobbles, which is her version of swearing still. She's like, all you have to do is feel it. And Missy puts her hands on Nicole's hips, like, and Nicole's like, feel what? And Missy's like, the music. She's like, don't be shy, you know, and Missy finds her adorable. But what else is new? And then they're grinding and Nicole's thigh is between Missy's and and Missy loves the way her body feels. I'm sure you do, girl. And there's some whimpering and Missy's like, I want to hear her scream. And I'm like, okay, goddamn. And Missy is like, I think you found it. And Nicole's like, I think I found something. And Missy's like, something good? And Nicole's like, something worthwhile, I think, yeah. Tiny electrical shocks tingle throughout my torso and into my limbs. We're pressed together as firmly as we can be, but it's not close enough. It won't be enough until I'm inside her, until I'm a part of her. My body makes the decision to kiss her before my brain can catch up, and then my lips are on hers. Girl! Anyway, she tastes like lemon and sugar, but I think she should taste like peppermint schnapps because that is the stronger flavor for sure. Anyway, they're making out. Santa's heart is thundering in her chest, and then they pull apart and Nicole's like, oh my God. And Santa's heart drops at this. The alcohol churns painfully in my stomach and my thoughts instantly sober me up. I just kissed her, a human woman without permission, ... And she rightfully rejected me. Not only have I dishonored my father and all of the North Pole tonight by almost giving up on Christmas, but I then threw myself at a woman who has experienced one of the hardest years of her life. And I did it knowing exactly what a year like that feels like. And she also thinks like, if this doesn't put me on the naughty list, I don't know what will. And Nicole's like, Missy, are you okay? And she's like, I think I'm gonna throw up. And then she does. She does over the edge of the porch. So page break. She staggers off of the porch. She's not feeling very great. Her body is shaking. She's not feeling great. And Nicole is like rubbing her back while she's puking some more. I want to shrivel up and die. The only thing worse than the sickness is knowing this beautiful woman is here to witness it, that she's comforting me after I basically attacked her with my mouth. I mean, I feel like it went on too long for you to be like, oh, she wasn't into it. But what do I know? And then after the puking is done, Nicole's like, there, how do you feel? And Missy's like, I don't know. And Nicole's like, do you gotta throw up again? She's like, no. And she's like, okay, we gotta try sitting up then. And Nicole's like, your hair is so pretty in the dark. And I'm like, girl, you're not drunk. What is your excuse for this? I lean away. Yeah, well, at least I have one thing going for me. Her hands fall into her lap, her thin brows pinching before she replies, you have a hell of a lot more than that working in your favor, Missy. You have your sleigh and the reindeer, and for tonight, you have me too. I'm going to help you, okay? Why would you want to help me? Nicole's gaze flipped to the sleigh and then back to me, her eyes narrowing into termination. Missy, I don't think this was your fault. When I was leaving earlier, I ran into Jack Frost. And Missy is like, what did you say? She tells her that she was trying to take over the deliveries and that she also knew about the reindeer spooking. And based on like how she was acting, I think she might have been the one to do it. And like maybe she's been following you all night, messing with you, you know? And Nicole is like, oh, I figured that she was lying when she said you were friends. And she's like, no, we weren't friends, but when Papa was alive, we were much more involved with each other. She's like, why is she trying to steal your job? And Missy's like, long story. She's like, I think we have a moment. We probably shouldn't attempt moving you too much yet. Okay, I remember fine. The highlights are we dated for a year before my father died and then she fell off the radar. She up and disappeared. No call, no letter, no explanation. It was hard enough to lose my papa, but I lost her too that day. And then when my brother left the North Pole last month, she came back. She pretended to be worried about me, told me her family forced her to stay away, and gave me all these excuses about why she couldn't be there for me when I needed her. I loved her so much and I was so elfin lonely that I believed them for a while. But as it turned out, she just wanted to talk me into giving up my father's job. And Nicole's getting fired up about this and she's like, she is a bitch. She's like, I should have seen it coming because the Frost family has always wanted a piece of Christmas and they feel like they're owed it because they control the winter season. But she's like, it's not even winter in every country like when Santa comes to town though. So like, why do you deserve that? And she's like, at first I found our romance exciting because it was like Romeo and Juliet. And she's like, she's like, my papa tried to warn me many times, but I didn't listen and I should have. And we learn that the Frosts are not tethered to this planet or any other. They're nomadic elves and they lust after Christmas and all other sources of magic they can find. I don't like this Jack Frost slander. And Nicole tries to be like, well, you couldn't have known then what you know now. And she's like, no, but that doesn't make me feel any less terrible about how things turned out. Nicole's like, yeah, I'm sorry. And Missy's like, it's not your fault. And Nicole is trying to give her a pep talk. Is like, why don't we get in the sleigh and prove how wrong she is? And Missy's like, but what if she's right? And Nicole's like, not a chance. You're Missy Claus. You are built for this. She's like, your dad would be so proud of you. And Missy tries to get up, but it's not going great. And Nicole's like, okay, just a short walk and we'll be fine. Then you can sit down. So she's like leaning heavily on Nicole as they cross the yard to get to the sleigh. And she's like, how am I going to deliver presents like this? And Nicole is like, well, just let me do it for a little bit until you feel better and just tell me what to do. And Missy's like, I'm so tired. And she's like, Missy, focus. Just tell me what I need to do and you can take a nap. And Missy is like, there's a radio. You can use the walkie-talkie thing to talk to the North Pole and tell them a watcher has been given the reins. They'll know what that means. She's like, yeah, but I don't know what that means. She's like, it means you took the reins off the hook, Nicole. You put on the coat and you drive the sleigh. She's like, what? I don't know how to drive a sleigh. She's like, hold on tight. The reindeer will do the rest. And Missy is really tired and her head like kind of falls back in the sleigh and she hears Nicole curse and mutter a bit. And the reins are jingling and Missy really wants to tell her to call the elves first before she like gets the sleigh a-going, but it's too late. The instant the reins are in her hands, the reindeer surge forward, eager to return to work. Nicole squeals as they take off, but since the sleigh keeps moving smoothly, I know she managed to keep a hold of the reins. I'm so elfin proud of her for that. Oh, just swear, please. We're begging you. Anyway, they're lifted off and Missy pukes again. But she hears a groan below them and it's one of the kids that was like passed out in the courtyard of the fraternity, and he looks up and he's just like, whoa, I took like way too many mushrooms. Which is so funny to me. And then Missy passes out. Chapter 9, Nicole. She is like so starstruck by this. She's like, Santa is a fucking astronaut. I'm like, I think he's more like an alien, but okay. And she's kind of like, it's cold up here, but it's not as cold as it should be, and it's because there's like this shield that comes up around the sleigh while they're flying. And they're now flying over Casper, Wyoming, and she thinks that it's kind of been hard to like keep upright, and she thinks Missy must have abs of steel underneath that red shirt. That red shirt clinging like saran wrap to her abdomen, riding up on her hips, revealing that colorful ink, those cute tattoos. I'm practically salivating, so I force the idea of her body out of my mind. Calm down, you just met. Ah! Anyway, they land and then the shield falls down and the ankles are released from where it like holds the boots in place. And then she thinks about how she kissed Santa Claus and she liked it, and she only pushed her away because Missy was drunk, which is the right thing to do, okay? And she's like, I could tell that I hurt her, but like I couldn't do that, you know? She's drunk and like all I do tonight seems to be hurting her, and I'm like, oh. Then she calls on the radio for the elves and they're like, who is this? And she introduces herself and she says the thing that Missy said to say, and they're like, is she gone? And she's like, no, she's just drunk and passed out. I mean, she doesn't say she's drunk. She's like, she's unable to deliver presents, which is very professional. And they're like, oh, thank the stars. The delivery is so simple. Like, do you have her coat? And she's like, yeah. And they're like, perfect. Put on the coat and grab the presents that you need, and then the coat will grant you entrance into the house through the chimney or some vent that's on top of the house. Just like leap toward it and the magic will shoot you on in there. And they're like, once you put the presents under the tree, you just go back out the same way you came in. She's like, how do I know what presents to grab? Like, which ones are the right ones? The only presents you'll find in the bag are the ones you need. And before you go in, make sure you have the emergency apparition whistle with you. You'll need it if something goes wrong inside. It should be in one of the coat pockets. It's small and shaped like a candy cane, golden. That's the thing that Missy had been looking for earlier. And she's like looking around. She's like, the whistle isn't here. And they're like, are you sure? And she's like, yeah, I feel like it would be kind of difficult to miss. And they're like, check the cookie box beneath the dash. Santa used to toss it there on accident sometimes. And she does, and she finds the whistle. They're like, you have everything you need. Keep the whistle on you at all times. It's the only way you can can catch up with the sleigh if it takes off without you. And they're like, keep the radio on, let us know if you have further questions, good luck. And so she's like, okay, I guess I gotta leap into the chimney, I can do this. And she's very worried about how she's gonna get this done. But as she like leans over to peer in, she gets sucked in to the chimney head first, and every part of her body feels squeezed and contorted into a weird shape, and she tumbles out of the brick chimney, and she's like, oh, that kicked my ass. And there's so much beautiful like Christmas decorations and ornaments and all this stuff, and then she reads that the presents are for Corey and Abigail, and she's like, there's no way, but it's her niece and nephew and her sister's house. Why did the sleigh bring me here? This is some masochistic Christmas fueled torture. I have to get out of here. And then from nowhere, like in the Grinch, the little girl comes down and is like, Aunt Nicole, is that you? And she's like, you know who I am? She's like, you're my mommy's sister. Grandma showed us pictures of you today. She said you couldn't come to Christmas because you were busy making toys for other kids. Is that because you're Santa? And she's like, tonight I am. Like, but why can't you come back for Christmas tomorrow? You'll be done delivering presents by then, right? And Nicole is having very conflicting thoughts because she hasn't talked to her sister since her sister went to college, which was a long time ago. And she used to fantasize about being an aunt and spoiling them, but she kind of thought it was better to just stay away. And she tells Abigail, I don't know. And Abigail's like, Mommy said that too. Do you not like us? No, I want to say I want to love you, but sometimes it's hard to break years worth of silence. Sometimes it's hard to silence your pride. And that's sad. I don't really feel that way about my relatives, but you know. And she's like, I like you just fine. Go back to bed, Abigail. It's just a dream. And Abigail's like, this feels real to me. She's like, the best dreams do. Go to sleep. And she's like, I wish it was real. I really want to meet you, and Mommy tells the best stories about you. And she has to bite inside her cheek to keep from crying. She's just like, good night. She's like, my sister talks about me without any sort of malice, obviously, and she knew who I was instantly, but I barely recognized her. And she looks at these photos on the mantle, and they're like much older photos, and like even though there are all these family photos without Nicole, there is one photo with Nicole, and they're so little and they're hugging each other tightly. It's sad. I always wanted a sister, but my stepsister is much younger than me, so. And she thinks this because she thinks about like the harsh words they said. I get tired and hopeless, and then I totally shut down. It's not that I don't have feelings, it's that I'm afraid to show them, or I'm not sure how. That's the real problem, isn't it? If nobody sees what I feel, they can't reject me, they can't hurt me. But that's an extremely lonely, joyless way to live. I wish I knew how to be better. I wish I wasn't so afraid. I don't really relate to that, but see, sometimes this silly, ridiculous book drops absolute bangers. I don't know why. Chapter 10, Missy. She wakes up, there's an ache near her temples, and Nicole's not here because she's delivering presents to this house. And she thinks about how she kissed Nicole stupidly, and it's very embarrassing, and she had to listen to me talk about my ex. I can't believe Jack Frost is trying to sabotage Christmas. Then again, she has done a lot of things lately that I never believed her capable of. A human is more supportive of me than she is, and Nicole is on the naughty list, for goodness sake. Oh yeah, exes be like that. So she grabs her toiletries bag, it's around some of the cookies and stuff, so that she can clean her teeth and her face because she, you know, vomited all over the place. And she brushes the dried puke out of the ends of her hair. Gross. Nasty. Don't tell me about that. She thinks about how Nicole could have left, but she stayed. She got Christmas back on track. And she's like, she might be on the naughty list, but she's good to me. And then Nicole reappears from delivering the presents, and Missy thinks she's risking her life for me and she shouldn't be risking anything. And Nicole's like, hey, you're awake. And she's like, and you're delivering presents. And she's like, I hope that's okay. She's like, I gave you the reins, of course it's okay. You check on how Missy is feeling, yada yada. Better than before. Nicole's like, I'm not sure I'm doing your job justice. I set off like 7 alarms and I pissed off a chihuahua that wanted to eat me alive. See, my Neen Bean, Ginger, seems like that. She's like 20% Chihuahua. She's mostly miniature pincher. And if you come in the house, she will probably end up liking you. She'll bark for a minute and then she'll probably end up liking you because she's kind of a dork. And Missy is like, you're doing perfectly fine, and you remembered to take the cookies. She's like, oh, I was like getting a little hungry. She's like, thank God one house a few cities back left empanadas. And she's like, this is kind of exhausting. And Missy's like, it's a marathon for sure. She's like, what happens now? Do you take over again? And she's like, I'll take the reins, but you can help me deliver the rest of the presents if you want. Like, I could use some extra hands, and sunrise is right around the corner. She's like, but don't you need the coat? And she's like, no, Like, the hat assists me just fine. Like, what do you say? Do we finish this together? And Nicole's like, together. And Nicole's like, you want to share the snickerdoodle? But when Missy takes a bite into it, it is not snickerdoodle. They're both like, ugh. And they're like, they definitely mixed up the salt and the sugar. And Missy's like, yeah, that happens a lot. And Nicole is like, why would they leave inedible cookies out? And Missy is like, well, Santa isn't real, so the parents don't really care because, like, they don't want to bother making a second batch if the kid messes up the first one. Nicole's like, you poor soul. Missy says it's not that bad. She gets a lot of fantastic cookies. They're like, we ready to get back into the sky, and they're gonna do that. Page break. We barely get to see any present delivery, which is a little sad, but it's fine. The apartment buildings, they're delivering at the same time. They're killing it, but they think they're gonna make it. And they're talking about the food they got from the last one or whatever. And she gives Nicole some lemon curd cookies, and she's like, how do you know that those are my favorite? And Missy thinks it would be easy to blame it on the Santa site, but how could I tell her the truth? How do I say that her mouth tasted like lemon when I kissed her and that there's a small lemon scented stain on the breast of her tank top that I only noticed when we were grinding against each other? That's how I knew. She's just like, lucky guess. And Missy's like, it's my turn to take the reins. You finish eating and we'll do the last few drops and then we're pretty much almost done. But when they get up in the air, the sleigh starts having like problems because the sleigh is also kind of mechanical. It's not really powered by the reindeer. The reindeer are more like steering things. And Nicole is like grappling and trying to hold on. It's like, what is going on? And she's like, I don't know, but I need to figure it out. She can tell that there's something wrong with the instruments because Santa, by the way, is trained how to fix the sleigh. She's like, I need to get underneath the sleigh. And Nicole's like, what? And she's like, just keep them steady. Don't let go. I'll be back. And she gets under there and she sees that there is frost covering the side of the sleigh, and she's like, Jack Frost tampered with my fucking sleigh again, and her Krampus wants to rise to the surface. Not good for her, really. And Nicole's like, what's wrong? And she's like, frost. And Missy quickly reaches in the breast pocket of the coat that Nicole is wearing and grabs a parcel out, and she's like, hopefully this is all I should need. And Nicole is calling after her as she goes over the side of the sleigh and she's gonna go under, and she thinks that because she can see the city sparkling beneath them that it would be a long fall, and she pulls the emergency hook from underneath the carriage and like hooks herself with it, and she takes out of the parcel that she took out of the jacket something called verbrennan coal. My father's sleigh has broken down in the freezing temperatures of Earth too many times, and he learned to always carry this in his coat. I'll have to refill the parcel when I get home. I hate Jack for making me do this. It feels like an erasure of some precious piece of him. His hands were the last ones to touch this bag, this coal. I can't help but feel I'm diluting his touch with the presence of mine. I didn't want the coat to change, to be altered, but now it has to be. And she uses her rage and the coal to melt all of the ice that is on the instruments. But as the gears start to spin freely, her dad's leather belt to the jacket gets caught in the gears and it gets lost forever. It's devoured by the gears or whatever. It's very sad. She's having a very rough time with the whole missing your dad thing. And now the shields are working again and everything is running smoothly. She almost dies because of the melted snow has created like, you know, like a slick surface. But don't worry, our girl Nicole, who's still barely holding the reins, reaches over and saves our girl Missy from dying. When she gets up there, she Missy kind of deflates and starts sobbing, and Nicole's like, oh no, like, you're okay, Missy, I've got you. And she like pets her hair, and Missy cries into Nicole's collarbone for a minute. This is my first watcher and I don't want to let her go. I don't want her to forget these pieces of me. No one else knows. Stealing my nerves, I peel away to return Nicole's frightened gaze. I want to take off her glasses. I want to straddle her lap and fix her lopsided bun. I want to do a lot of things, and none of them are reasonable. None of them are fair to either of us. Okay. I don't know what to do about this. I see the romance part of this book, and again, this is a monster romance, so I'm supposed to like the romance. The romance is the part that means nothing to me about this book. Like, I'm fascinated about the rest of it. Nicole asks if she's okay, and Missy says, no, I'm in agony.
Agony, far more painful than yours.
And Nicole's like, oh, like you hit your jaw pretty hard. Like, did you get hurt somewhere else? And she's like, no, I'm in
agony.
because all I want to do in this moment is kiss you and I shouldn't. And Nicole is like, why shouldn't you? And Missy's like, I thought you didn't like it. And Nicole's like, no, you were just drunk. She's like, I liked it just fine. And Missy's like, oh. And then they're like, kind of, the air electrifies. It's the same crap that's in all of these books. And then Nicole's like studying her and is like, how many tattoos do you have? And Missy is like, I don't know, do you want to take off my clothes and count them for me? She's also still kind of in like her Krampus form, and she's like, does she really want to kiss me like this though? Like, she's certainly a brave little human. I almost want to see how much braver she can be. I'm like, oh lord. Anyway, before they can like, you know, full on make out, someone's like, North Pole to Santa. I repeat, North Pole to Santa. We received alerts of the engine malfunctioning. Are you okay? And she's like, we're okay. I was able to fix it. Listen, I need you to send out the twat. And Nicole's like, what the hell is the twat to you? She's like giggling and gasping for air. And they're like, it's the tenacious watcher and adversary team. They're elves trained to track down and immobilize dangers to the Christmas delivery route. The twat will take care of Jack Frost until I have the time to deal with her. Nicole starts laughing harder, wheezing mutely as she doubles over. A Christmas, she gasps, twat, and then they both dissolve into giggling. Ha, tee hee hee, so funny. Chapter 11, Nicole. They're now across the street from Nicole's mother's house, and Missy is delivering the last present to Cynthia, that lady she thought she was delivering to the first time. And Nicole's like, we've come full circle. And Nicole's thinking a lot about Jack's words about Missy erasing her memory, and she's like, okay, but that bitch isn't someone who can be trusted, obviously. And she's like, I can't be the first person to ever meet Santa. She's like, but Jack made it sound like a promise. She's like, there's really no evidence in the human world about Santa, so like something has to be up. And maybe there is some truth to Jack's warnings. And I'm too afraid to ask Missy about it because I don't want our time together to end. And then the last present is officially delivered, and Nicole's like, don't forget about my mom's ornaments. And Missy is like, ah, yes, your salary, you wound me, I already fixed those, like right when we were leaving. She's like, of course they were. Like, I can't believe that was only one night. So much happened, it felt like a dream. The alarming terror of a malfunctioning sleigh and a Krampus claws, real sugar plum dream material you got there. Yep, for sure. But Nicole's like, are you kidding? It was amazing. And Missy doesn't believe her, and she's like, sure. And Nicole's like, no, really, I mean it, Missy. Like, I helped deliver presents to thousands of kids. Like, if it wasn't for you, I would have spent the night alone. And I'm grateful that you delivered the present to the wrong house. And Missy's like, I'm grateful we met too, and I don't think tonight would have been the same without you. And Nicole's like, even though it's my fault you got drunk and got sick. And Missy, to her credit, is like, that's my fault. I've been running myself ragged, like getting ready for Christmas. It was a nightmare, and my brother leaving was really rough. She's like, I didn't think I'd ever have to fill my father's shoes. You know? And Nicole's like, I think if your dad could see you now, he'd be kicking himself for not training you better. Santa was lucky to have you for a daughter. And Missy's like, I'm glad I didn't have to do it alone this year. I hate being alone lately too, I mutter. My head is too full when I'm alone. I keep reliving the same handful of rotten moments from my life over and over. The morning my dad left my mom, that fight I had with my sister before she went to college, the night my ex came home and ended a decade of my life. It's like I get trapped in that feeling, taken captive. I know what that feels like. Again, unfortunately, Nicole, a little bit too relatable, depending on what part of the book we're talking about. But she's like, you brought me out of that tonight. Thank you, you know? And Missy is like, you quiet my hurt too. And Nicole's like, at least I can think of this moment now when I'm reminded of the other ones and like think about being here with you. But Missy's eyes turn glassy, and then they're making out. And they're still on the roof, and Missy like grabs Nicole and like has her fall down like on top of her, and they're making out. You know, there's a little bit of thigh action, but not too much. They want to take the clothes off, but that's not happening yet. And Nicole's like, how do I just go home after like the night we've had? And Missy's like, maybe you don't. And she's like, what? Like, you don't have to go home right away. You could come with me to the North Pole. But this is some Cinderella ass shit, and she will have to leave by the stroke of midnight on Christmas Day. Otherwise, you will be stuck in the North Pole until next Christmas. And it's because their like North Pole isn't on Earth, and elves can travel back and forth freely throughout the year, but humans can't do that. And she's like, okay, let's go. And Missy is like, you really want to come? And she's like, duh, it's the North Pole. And she's like, I have so much to show you. Then they're back in the sleigh. Nicole's like, I want to see everything as much as possible so I don't forget it. And Missy kind of looks weird again, and Nicole thinks that there's something she's not telling her, but Missy is like, you got it, Precious. Page break. They emerge from the cool tunnel of galaxies this time, and it's very cold. And she has the Santa coat on, but Missy doesn't. She's like, God, she must be freezing because I'm really cold. And they see like a bunch of pretty stuff while they're doing that, and it's like the most beautiful thing that she's ever seen aside from that elf beaming over her shoulder at me. Okay, if you say so. And then they get to the center of this like city, and it's the North Pole, and she speaks Elvish to the reindeer, and Nicole never gets tired of her speaking Elvish. I'm like, I don't think she did at any other point in the book that we've seen, but okay. And Missy tells her to hold on because the flight is gonna be a little rocky, and she can barely hold on as like this is happening. And then they're inside whatever barrier they were trying to get through, and the snow is fluttering around them, and it's a lot of cute, quaint wooden buildings and, you know, snow everywhere and cobblestone, you know. And Nicole thinks like, where are all the elves? Where is everybody? And then the sleigh finally comes to a stop near a clock tower, and there are a few elves that come out and they're approaching, you know, and they're clearly reindeer handlers because they're coming to get them. And they go into the clock tower, and one woman elf is like, you did such a good job, my dear. And she's like, I mean it, you did beautifully. Now it's time to rest. And I see you brought a watcher with you, and I'm assuming I don't have to tell you what's up with that. And Missy's like, no, Auntie Mags, I told her. And that's her aunt. And then her aunt is like, thank you for what you've done for Christmas, Nicole. And she's like, the fates brought you two together and we won't forget it. And Nicole's like, I feel weird about the way you worded that. She's like, I prepared some cocoa for you and your watcher. It's in the workshop, but before you go, you should know that twat secured Jack Frost, and they're waiting for your judgment when you have a free moment. And Nicole kind of goes into this little thought spiral of like, does she still have feelings for Jack? And I'm like, well, probably not, because it's one of these books. And Missy is like, okay, I should probably go and relieve the team, like it's getting late. And Mags is like, that sounds like a good plan, your dad would be proud of you, Santa. Like, I'll see you again when the stars burst, my dear. And Missy looks very tearful, and she's like, you wait here, Nicole, I'll be back in a few minutes. And Nicole's like, no way, I'm coming with you. And she's like, you don't have to do this, Nicole, like this is my mess and I have to clean it up. And she's like, I don't like the idea of you going by yourself. We conquered the rest of the night together, like I want to go with you. And Missy is like, okay. And so they go into the tower, and they get to a small communications room, and Jack Frost is there all bound up with the twat team. They're all in their little Krampus forms, and Nicole is guessing that they secured Jack with these like poison darts that are like some kind of poison or paralytic, and she looks kind of unsteady on her feet, like she's not doing great. And she's just like, hello, Missy. Like, it's been long enough. Is it a bad time? You look like you had a rough night there. And Nicole's like, and you look like a treacherous, desperate has-been, but I'm thinking that's nothing new. And Jack Frost is like, ooh, the human has some bite. I kind of like her. She's a vibe. She's like, if you're so brave, come feel my teeth, bitch. I'm like, I love Jack Frost. Amazing character. Anyway, and Missy's like, you won't lay a finger on her. And Jack's like, that's the fun part. I don't need to. And she just like blasts some cold air at Nicole. But then Missy is in her Krampus form, and she has her hand wrapped around Jack's throat. And Jack is like smiling real big. But then Missy's claws are like digging into the sides of her neck, and Jack's not smiling anymore. She's like, you hurt her in any way, and it's the last thing you'll ever do. She's like, don't tell me you're getting attached to that thing, Missy. She's like, I almost pity you just for that. She's like, I don't care what you think about me, not anymore. She's like, in fact, I'd prefer it if you never thought of me again. And Jack Frost is like, Missy, don't you even think about it. And she's like, it's too late, Jack, after all the trouble you've caused today. You're a threat to our planet. And Jack is like, you can't make me forget stuff. My family will retaliate. You better mark my words. And Missy's like, someone shut her up, please. And they do. They shut her up. And Missy says, hey, Nicole, close your eyes, precious, and keep them closed until I tell you to stop. And she's like, why? And she's like, please just trust me, okay? And she's like, whatever you do, don't peek. And Nicole really does try not to peek, but she can't really help it. And she sees Missy have this device and use it on Jack, and it wipes out some of her memories, presumably. And then Missy addresses the twat people, and she's like, you two did like excellent work, now go home with your families. And then she tells Nicole she can open her eyes, precious. And Jack is nowhere around now, and she's like, what happened to her? And she's like, does it matter? And Nicole's thinking to herself, maybe. And she's like, I don't know. And Missy kind of hesitates and is like, I made her forget that I ever loved her. And Nicole is like, why? And she's like, because she's a threat to my world and to you, and I need to protect you both. I can't help it. And Nicole has no response for this, so she just leans up and kisses her instead, and then they're kissing some more, and they kiss until they're a little dizzy and they pull away, and Missy's like, come on now, all the unpleasantness is over, I'll show you around town. Chapter 12, Nicole. So they go around town, but all the little shops are closed, but Missy just like points them out and such, and there's lots of like magical ornaments, and they glow and it's ethereal, yada yada. And the streets are very narrow and they can like barely walk side by side. No thank you. I don't like, I'm not claustrophobic, but like enclosed spaces like it is not for me overall. And Missy is sorry that Nicole can't experience like the full experience because everything is closed for Christmas and they won't be open for several more days. And Nicole says that's okay, I wouldn't expect anyone to work on Christmas. And she thinks to herself, even though I did, she's like, even elves take a break. And it's kind of making me realize just how hard I've been working for the past year, working weekends and holidays. Even when I wasn't working, I was thinking about what I had to do. Like that's kind of relatable a little bit. The North Pole is thriving, it's infamous. Meanwhile, I've been working myself to the bone and I've never felt more forgettable. I'm getting divorced. My mom and dad have given up on me. My niece only knows me through pictures, and my sister, ... The closest thing we have to a relationship, the picture she keeps of the two of us on her mantle. Building the life I desire won't mean anything unless I can share it with someone. And who do I have? If the entire world shut down, who would I retreat home to? I hate that an abysmal darkness swirls in my mind instead of a face. It's very sad. Anyway. We reach Santa's workshop and Missy's like, are you alright? And Nicole's like, I'm just thinking. And Missy's like, what about? And Nicole doesn't really know how to say like what's going on with all these feelings she's having, right? And she's just like, nothing important. Let's see the workshop. I want to see it. And they go on in. There's like a lot of like crazy factory stuff, right? And then Missy's like, here, drink this. It will help you relax. And Nicole's like, is this gonna put me to sleep? Because it's like some kind of special cocoa. She's like, no, dozy cocoa is more like a multivitamin. It has like herbs that you can only get here, and like it nourishes you and you might feel warmer and maybe a little tipsy because it's your first time, but it won't knock you out. And so they're drinking the dozy cocoa, woohoo, and it's the best Nicole has ever had. And Missy's like, we had eternity to get it right. Our elven perfectionism serves us well. And you know, Nicole's looking at all the stuff like the wrapping paper and the whatever, and the workstations are like decked out with stuff, but it's also like covered in pink and purple glitter right now because they have a contest for best dressed table every year, and the winner gets to decorate the whole workshop for the next season. And Nicole's like, well, by the looks of it, you're gonna be washing pink glitter out of every crease in your body by this time next year. And she's also like, are elves competitive? And Missy's like, competitive is an understatement. Like, it can be fairly hostile, but I get a lot of bribes near judging time, so it's hard to complain. And Nicole's like, Santa taking bribes, there's a dark side to the North Pole. And Missy is like, I only take delicious ones, I promise. And they have no influence on my final decision unless there's hazelnut. She's easily manipulated by hazelnut, apparently. And Nicole's like, oh really? I'll take note of that. And Missy's like, just don't spread that information around, okay? Like, the North Pole couldn't handle me on a hazelnut high. And she's like, my lips are sealed, and she kisses Missy's cheek. And then they kind of go to the far side of the room, and Missy kind of gets rigid a little bit. And Nicole's like, what has her worked up? And she's like, what is it? What's behind that door? And she's like, that's my papa's private workshop. And Nicole's like, can I see it? And Nicole thinks like, I didn't ask for myself. It just seems like she wants permission to go in there, and she wants a reason. And Missy is like, I'd love to show you. Chapter 13, Missy. They're in her father's office. There's like a lot of magical items on the shelves. There's framed blueprints, there's books, etc. But Missy feels like it's empty because the thing I most look forward to seeing in this room is gone, and it's never coming back. It's just a room. So sad. So sad. I don't know what having parents you like is like though. My mom and I are making up, but we'll see. We'll see. That's only because my breakup's going super bad. Nicole's investigating the room because she's like, ooh, and Missy is like letting her enthusiasm infect her. And Missy's having a hard time because she's thinking about all the things she'll never be able to experience with her dad again. I still love the North Pole. I love the magic. I love my new purpose. I just wish I could have had it all. I would have rather had my family, my father and siblings still here with me. I would have rather been unhappy, uncertain of my future than alone. I'm feeling that right now a little bit, yeah, but the world is my oyster soon, all right? And Nicole's like, this picture is beautiful. Is this you and your dad? And it is. It's one of her when she was like pretty little. And she's like, yeah, that's just before my little sister was born. My dad had to like drag me along for like a few orbits because my mom was sick and I was too young to be left alone. She had picked up some kind of virus because she was mostly human, and it like wouldn't leave her alone because she was, again, mostly human. And then she died in childbirth for this little sister, and their auntie Mags pretty much helped raise them. But she had a hard time keeping Missy away from the workshop. She's like, something about all those months with my dad just really stuck with me. And Nicole's like, I think it's very telling that the only picture he has in this room is of you two. It's like he always knew you would be Santa, even if he never said it, you know? And Missy's getting really teary. He's like, I never thought of it that way. And she looks at the photo closer and she's wondering if that's true. And Nicole's like, I wish I could take a picture of you right now. And Missy's like, a picture? And Nicole talks about how she used to take pictures of everything with this camera that her dad had given her. And then when her dad left, she took the camera out to the backyard and she smashed it with a baseball bat. And then she took the hard drive out where all the photos were and she burned it in a fire pit. She's like, some of them my sister had copies of, but like most of them were lost forever. And I wish I could return to that day so that I could save the pictures and I would have saved my camera. And Missy's like, you've never thought of getting a new camera? And Nicole's like, no, it was like more than a camera to me. And then I was like really angry at my dad. I decided to try and destroy the connection between us that way. Like, I was too young to realize people were complicated, and I set aside my passion because it was kind of like a piece of him and I couldn't separate those two things. And Missy's like, that must have been hard. And Nicole's like, well, I did it to myself. And Missy's like, still, like, I know what it's like to feel lost when doing things that you love the most. It makes living true to yourself harder, ... but more meaningful too, I think. And then Nicole goes on this long speech about how when her marriage ended, she thought her life was over, but then I realized I'd stopped living a long time ago. I'd been like frozen, and after I like destroyed all the shit in our apartment, I realized that like time was still gonna go on anyway. And it wasn't just an ending, it was a beginning. Try to get into that spirit, all right? And then she says, living even when you don't want to, even when you aren't sure what living means to you anymore. And she thinks that that's all that matters in the end. And Missy sees the glimmer of a believer there. There it is. I'm like, okay. And she's like, you should do what you love again, Nicole. Even if it makes you sad sometimes, like get a new camera, search for the beauty in everything. And she's like, my passion is leading me somewhere else at the moment because everyone in these books is just horny. And then they're kissing and it's addictive. I want to sink my teeth into her skin and devour her piece by piece. I have to force my Krampus to stay contained. My dark form wants out. It wants to possess her, own her. It wants to keep her here forever. My own little human to love, spoil, and protect. I can't give my Krampus control though. It'll scare her. Humans aren't accustomed to our intense elven instincts. We're more animal than human when it comes to mating. Not mating. When I read this, I hate that, especially when you're not expecting it. If it was a different monster romance or if she was even more Krampusy, it would have been fine. But oh my god. I suddenly want to know what her arousal tastes like. I want to know what it feels like mixing with mine. Oh. Ooh, ooh, that's the sound of the police. No, thank you. No. Anyway, they're like moaning a little and Missy is like, this office isn't mine, like not yet. And they like break away with the kiss and sorry, they're not breaking the kiss, my bad. And they're like backpedaling toward the door and Nicole's still following, like without a fight. They're still making out, it's whatever. And Nicole's like, where are you going? And Missy's like, I have plans for you that require a comfortable environment. And a few special toys, of course. Wait till you get to that. Oh my god. Chapter 14, Nicole. So they're out of the office. They're going down like the corridor and then they enter a large dark room and Missy allows her to like roam around on her own. She's like checking out the stuff. There's like garlands and shit. Who cares? And Nicole thinks the Christmas cheer here, this is the sentence. This is the only sentence where I was like, somebody missed this while editing. Ready? Okay. The Christmas cheer in here is soft understated. Yeah, you didn't need the second here. So I'm gonna give it to you this one time though, because that's the only major mistake I found in this book. Thank you for doing it right, unlike a bunch of other freaking authors, like some of the other ones I've talked about, okay? Oh my god, yeah. And then like Nicole's looking at the macabre knickknacks sitting on the shelves beside me. I choke on a gasp when I see the corpse of a fairy seemingly embalmed within a shadow box. What? A girl can't have a little freaking spooky accessory? You should see this room. I have so much taxidermy. What are we talking about? I mean, most of it's bones, but I do have up there, I have a lovebird. It's very cute. Actually, you know what? I'll show her to you. Or him? I don't know if it's a girl or a boy. To dance. Can't see him very well because the camera doesn't want to focus on him. But yeah. What? A girl can't have some taxidermy now? Hot girls like taxidermy. Okay? Hot girls like taxidermy. And Missy is like, ah yes, don't worry, that little sprite met a natural end before I stumbled upon it. It seemed like a pity to waste her beauty in death. Now she's something of a good luck charm to me. I've had her since I was a very young elfling. Gifted taxidermy, even better, you don't have to pay money. I have a list of like all the things I bought and I remember how much relatively everything was. Yeah, it's rough out here. I'm not gonna be able to buy anything new for quite a while though. Nicole is like, how long has it been since you were an elfling?
How old are you?
17.
How long have you been 17?
I've been alive for quite some time, Nicole. Time works differently here. When our stars are aligned with Earth, I age at the same rate as a human, but time practically stands still once the stars burst and we begin our orbit. Anyone who resides on this planet experiences a longer lifetime because of that. So that would make you...
How old are you?
17.
How long have you been 17?
A while.
In human years, I believe I'd be coming up on my 10,957th birthday. My jaw drops and Missy laughs. But by elf standards, I am still young. Oh, I don't love that trope where it's like, I mean, at least Nicole is 29. At least there's that, but it's still a little weird. And Nicole's like, how on earth? And she's just like, before you jump to conclusions, you should know that the length of our orbits feels much shorter than the year you experience on Earth. Like I said, the passage of time is different here. I imagine I am quite a bit older than you, but not by nearly 11,000 years. If you say so, girl. She's just like, don't think about it too hard, precious. It even confuses the wizards of our realm. There are wizards? Do we ever hear about the wizards again? No. Also, speaking of, I missed the Jack Frost shit. I should have brought this up before. I cannot believe that Jack Frost barely played a fucking part in this book. I thought she was gonna pop back up. Nope, no. And there goes my favorite character because of course. And she's like, right, so like how did the Santa thing begin? Because now she actually has questions. And she's like, did you guys just decide to give presents to everyone on Earth like just for fun? Or like what? Is it a hobby? Like what's going on? And then Missy explains that the root of their power is compassion. And like if you saw someone suffering, especially like young children, wouldn't you try to make it better if you could? Like some people think that gifts are trivial, but they're not. A meaningful gift can convince someone that they matter, that someone sees what they long for and who they are, what is important to them. For just one day, they feel known, and that feeling lingers long after the holiday is gone. Humans who believe in Christmas are really just believing in themselves, that they can hold on for another day, another season, another year, that they can experience joy again despite hardships they endure. It is a privilege to be a part of that. It is an honor to inspire those who want to give up. However our duty began, the dream was at the heart of it. And Nicole's like, that's really beautiful if it's true. And Missy's like, it is. And Nicole's worried that like Missy doesn't really want to take things further even though they've been kind of bumping and grinding for a while. And she thinks about how tomorrow she'll be at her mother's house alone. But right now tonight she's in the North Pole surrounded by magic beyond my wildest dreams. And I'm with the most beautiful elven woman who seems to like know my innermost self. And Nicole's like, what now? And Missy is like, I should probably take a shower. And Nicole's like, oh, okay. She's like, why did she even bring me here? To show me the most incredible place in the universe and then leave me alone in her living room while she gets all wet and sudsy somewhere else? This is a unique form of torture, but I am on the naughty list, so maybe I deserve it. And then Missy is like, Nicole, and she's like, yeah, and she's like, join me. Join her in the shower, my heart rockets into outer space, and my stomach does a triple backflip into a pool of lava. Fuck yes. That is like too dramatic. Too much. And they go to the shower, and you know, she's like, I'm about to have a one-night stand with Santa. Yeah, you are. I know because I read the damn book. Missy's like, don't be nervous. And then they're stripping and Nicole's a little nervous, and I'm gonna read this too because I felt like this was relatable as someone who's getting fucking divorced. I peel her father's coat off my shoulders, folding it gently on the counter before facing her. I'm nervous. I can't help it. It's been years since my first time with someone. I've gotten older since then. I have wrinkles and cellulite and stretch marks now, and she is flawless. Yeah, see, this is what I'm worried about, god damn it. I've been with anybody for the first time since I was 19. This is so scary. Give me tips in the comments. I'm fatter, I'm older, I'm not as cute, I have wrinkles now. Like, someone save me. Let's just read this too. I'm not gonna read all the smut stuff. If you want to read the smut, as usual, go read it. But anyway, our curves meld together, every hill finding a valley, every swell discovering a shore. We crash into each other like atoms. I'm shattering, getting lost in her gravity and reassembling myself within the stellar nebula that is her embrace. She's my Milky Way. One big bang and I exist again. Okay, this is a little dramatic for sex with someone you just met, but okay. And Nicole thinks that this is great even if she loses Missy tomorrow. So there's some shower stuff. We're just gonna skip it. You can imagine, okay? You can imagine. When it gets to be a funny, interesting sex part, I'll tell you about it, okay? And Missy is like, hey, you can't handle my Krampus. Like, I don't want to like lose control or whatever. And Nicole is like, lose it. I want you to lose it. Lose it. Ah! And then Missy's like, you don't understand, like the shift can be like really intense and like I don't want to scare you. And she's like, I'm not scared, Missy. I want all of you. I don't understand why people always say that in these scenes, but whatever. So she goes really Krampusy, woohoo. Then they're, you know, doing stuff in the shower. We're skipping it. We're not talking about it. Oh, except for this part. We're gonna say this. Missy's sharp claws graze along my slit, and I gasp in surprise, my body stiffening as she carefully caresses my slick lips. Okay, first of all, I hate the word slit. Stop it. And I also hate slick lips. Stop it. And I also hate the sharp claws. I know that it can be done, okay? I'm a femme. Alright, the reason I don't have good nails is because of sensory problems. I just rip them off after a couple hours because I can't handle it anymore. Like, it drives me crazy. But like, you have to be so careful, okay? Like, oh my god. And then she's like, no one ever thanks Santa, so you better like say thank you because she's like, I expect a thank you after each thank you, okay? And yeah, it's like, all right then. And then she leaves after they get out of the shower, and like she brings a double-ended phallic object, okay? And it's candy cane themed. The scream I scrubbed. I can't even explain to you. I should have been expecting it, but I wasn't. Because I wasn't thinking that hard when I was reading this. Like, I kept being hit in the face with the divorce stuff in here, and I was like, Jesus. And then there was a candy cane colored, double-ended you know what. And I was like, huh? Also, it vibrates, just so you know. So if you're interested in that, I didn't think the sex scenes were terrible, to be honest with you. I didn't loathe them, but they weren't like special, if you know what I mean. So I just wanted to put that out there. Anyway, they do that, okay? And then Nicole thinks, my body detonates. No, it doesn't. You just had some O's, okay? And then Missy is like, the naughty list is wrong about you, precious. You're such a good girl. Ew. Okay. Page break. They're cuddling and Nicole's like, does the sun ever rise here? And Missy is like, the sun will rise when the stars burst. And like, Christmas Day is a time for darkness and for rest. And Nicole's like, I'm sorry I won't be able to see it. Like, I'm sad I won't be able to see it in the daylight. And Missy's like, me too, but at least you got to see it. Like, very few watchers get to see it. Sorry, this boy wants up and then down, up and then down. Can you stop? Look at him. He's so silly. Okay, I love him. Bye-bye. He's too heavy to be sitting on me too. He's so heavy. And then Nicole's worried because she's like, oh, Missy just sees me as a watcher too. This really sucks. But the truth is that I can't stop falling for her. I'm like, you just barely met her. And then you're gonna say you're falling for her because you slept with her one time. Can we like calm down? And then Nicole starts kissing Missy's body a bit, and Missy's like, aren't you tired yet? Because they had like a bunch of O's, all right? And she's like, there's one thing I want to do, and she starts kissing her tattoos one by one. I'm like, I don't understand why we do that, but okay. And there's 11. And she's like, I need you to remember 11. And Missy's like, why? And she's like, because I'm gonna lose myself in you now. I don't know when I'm coming back. Chapter 15, Nicole. They had fallen asleep. They're still waiting for like, you know, midnight. It's not here yet. And it's just Missy. Her Krampus is gone now. And she's so cute or whatever. But Nicole is like, what was I thinking? Like, sex is one thing, but catching real feelings for a total stranger for Santa Claus is like nuts. And I'm like, thank you. I'm glad you think that. She's like, sleep has given me some much needed distance and perspective. What was the point of this if I have to forget it? Bitterness is setting in and I can't shake it. I suddenly wish I hadn't come here. Wish I had thrown Missy out of my mother's house and allowed her to save Christmas by herself. My chest tightens under the weight of those thoughts. I don't mean them. Not really. I'm just scared. Yeah, I just feel like her being worried about this whole thing makes a lot of sense, and I feel like that's why we don't throw all our eggs into a basket of like, I slept with you one time and I've known you for less than 24 hours, but you're my whole world now. Like, I think we need to not do that. But I think the ending kind of makes this a bit better. Okay, and Nicole's getting ready to leave, and Missy's like, is everything okay? Like, what's wrong? And she's like, I'm getting ready to leave. And Missy is like, I can see that. And Missy is like, stay. And Nicole's like, what do you mean stay? I know we've only just met. I know this is sudden, but think about it. You could stay here for a whole human year with me. You could do something that makes you happy. You're good with toys. You're good with deliveries. Help me organize the elves and prepare for next Christmas. And I promise to arrange for your other job to be waiting for you when you return to Earth if you want to go back. And Nicole's like, you can't just offer something like this to me, Missy. And she's like, why not? And Nicole's like, because it's not a good idea. And she's like, this whole night has been one bad idea after another, and this might be the worst idea of them all. And Missy's like, how could you say that?
Nikki, I didn't mean.
How could you say that to the Nicki Minette?
And Nicole's like, I'm not good enough for you. And Missy's like, what are you talking about? You were there tonight, like you felt it, we're good together. And she's like, I'm on the naughty list, Santa. It's like, and I'm a human, which means I don't belong here, but I'm a bad human. I'm a loser. I work on Christmas Eve, for fuck's sake. And Missy's like, so do I. And she's like, I smash people's prized possessions when they piss me off. I make sad women cry in fraternity bathrooms. I'm no good and you know that. You're Santa. You don't belong with someone like me. And Missy's like very disappointed by this, and she's just like, Missy, and she's like, what I know, she cuts me off with razor sharp authority, is that getting on the naughty list has nothing to do with morality, Nicole. You are on the naughty list because you're a bad person. You're there because you're too damn scared to open up to anyone. So you just push them away instead. And what's worse is that you push yourself away. You are a stranger to your own heart. How can anyone give you a gift that means something when you don't know what you want? You don't let anyone see who you are, yourself included. And Nicole's like, you're wrong. What do you want then? Do you want me or do you not? Forget that I'm Santa. Forget everything that you believe is standing between us and just tell me the truth from your heart. And Nicole is like, I don't think I know what the truth is. And she's like, okay, so what was last night to you? And she's like, when you wake up in your mother's house, will you believe this is all a dream? And she's like, my dreams have never been that sweet, Missy. And Missy's like, we'll find out soon enough. And she's like, be a good girl, Nicole, let love in, and when you're finally full again, give it to someone else. And she has that object, and Nicole starts freaking out. She's like, what is that thing? What are you doing? And she's just thinking like, you can't make me forget about you. And she tries to reach for the instrument, but Missy is like welling with tears. She's like, goodbye, Nicole. And then a burst of blinding white blue light fills her eyes. Chapter 16, Missy. Her aunt Mags is freaking out because she didn't wipe Nicole's memory. And she's like, what were you thinking? That human knows far too much. She's like, what do you think she's gonna do with that knowledge? And her aunt is like, I don't know, but she could tell the scientist. It could be like a whole big problem. She could write a book. Like, it took centuries to convince those humans we were a myth after the last watcher returned home with their mind intact. Like, deliveries were perilous for a decade. There were hunters organized. Like, it was really bad, and your father was careful about this for a reason. And then Missy is like, my mama was a watcher, and her aunt kind of deflates and was like, yes, but she decided to stay with your father. It's hardly the same thing. And Missy's like, I asked Nicole. And she's like, you asked her to stay? She's like, yes, I did ask her to stay, and she didn't. And her aunt doesn't say anything right away, and she's like, just say it. And she's like, I did sense a certain thread of magic in her, although it's deeply buried. And Missy had felt that too, like in her her soul or whatever. And she thinks about how she broke every Santa protocol for Nicole, but like all she can feel is regret. And she's like, I don't believe that she'll speak a word about us to anybody. And if she does, she'll frame it as some kind of like colorful dream as humans speak about world crossings, okay? And her aunt is like, just tell me this, when you're with her, does it feel eternal? And Missy is like, I believe it could be, but that means nothing if she cannot believe in herself. And Mags is like, that's true. Give it some time. See how much she grows during the next orbit, and maybe the stars will align again. And then she goes into her dad's workshop and she's like, I'm gonna make this mine. And she does. And she's crying a little bit. But she uses like the last magic she has before the Christmas stuff is over to make a present for Nicole. She makes like 2. We'll find out what they are in a minute. And then she has no more magic after that, and the magic is just gone and everything shifts and they're not aligned with Earth anymore. So she hears I'll be home for Christmas, and she thinks about when her dad used to like gather her and her siblings for Cocoa, and they'd listen to the human radio until this song played or the stars burst so that they couldn't hear the radio anymore. And she's thinking this shouldn't be working, like it shouldn't be playing the human radio at all. And she thinks it's her dad's, and she says, I love you too, Papa, Merry Christmas. And she's like very tearful. Chapter 17, Nicole. And Nicole remembers it all, and she remembers Missy and her heart aches, and she's like, I don't know if her letting me remember was a gift or a punishment, but either way I deserve it. And she just spent like 3 days and nights staring at the sky and waiting for a miracle that she knew wouldn't appear. And her mom returned home and dragged Missy out of bed, and now she's helping her take apart the Christmas tree. It's come full circle. She tells her mom that she's quitting her job, and her mom's like, I couldn't have heard you right. What did you say? And she's like, I'm taking the year off. I might do some consulting on the side so I don't go totally broke, but I really want to just do nothing. And her mom is like, oh honey, I think that's a wonderful idea. She's like, time away from work is exactly what you need. Are you going to go back home to work things out with Matt? She shakes her head and says no, and she's like, I called Dad. And her mom tenses up because again, they're divorced. And she's like, he said that I could stay with him and his wife, and that they have an old shop that I can convert into an apartment, and it's close to Grace, and I called and talked to her too. That's her sister. And her mom's like, you did? And like any anger kind of like dissipates. And she's like, yeah, we have plans for next Saturday. I'm going over there for dinner with her and her family. And her mom is like, oh Nikki, like she's very like happy about this whole thing. And she's like, Mom, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to upset you. And she's like, no, I'm not upset, I'm just glad. And she's like, you're not angry? And she's like, you talked to your sister, how could I ever be mad at you again? They laugh, and Nicole hugs her mom, and she says, you know, I'm proud of you and I love you. And Nicole says, I love you too. And then her mom's like, did you give me a present? And she's like, huh? And then it's that orb thing that was in Santa's workshop as like an ornament, and there's no magic in it. And she's like, oh, you got into the Christmas spirit while I was away. You even wrapped yourself a present, which is crazy because like, why wouldn't you open it then on Christmas? But whatever. And the tag says, we both know I can't give you what you really want for Christmas, but I hope this helps bridge the gap between what was and what can still be. And it's the camera that she had destroyed, and all of the pictures are there, and she feels like she could cry. Like all these family pictures are just like there now, and it's every single picture she lost. And she's like, Missy gave them back to me. And she's like, next year when our planets align on Christmas Eve, I'm going to make sure I'm healed enough to give her everything she wants, everything she deserves. I just hope I won't be too late. And we get a bunch of like letters from Nicole to Missy, but they're not that important. They're like, I miss you, yada yada. We're not going over them in detail. Chapter 18, Nicole, 1 year later, Christmas Eve. She's hanging out with her niece Abigail, and she's like letting her up a little bit late for like Christmas Eve, you know? And she explains to Abigail how the sleigh functions and a little bit about the Jack Frost situation. And Abigail's like, wow, I hope Jack Frost stays away from the sleigh this year. And Missy's like, yeah, me too. Not Missy, Nicole is like, yeah, me too. And she's thinking, I hope that she stays away from Missy, period, but maybe they've made up, yada yada. I'm like, girl, why are you being obtuse on purpose? And she pulls out that orb that was like the ornament present to her mom, and is like, see, now that it's glowing because like the magic is closer, that means that Santa's on her way. And Abigail falls asleep, and then her Sesame. And then her sister Grace is like, you sneaks, you like got up or whatever. And Nicole's like, hey, that's my cool aunt privileges, okay? And her sister's like, it's sweet that you do this whole Santa thing with Abigail, like it's really nice, and someday she won't believe in Santa anymore. and Nicole is like, you're never too old to believe in Santa. Her sister is like, do you believe in Santa? And Nicole's like, don't you at least a little bit? I don't know. Her sister goes over how like the last year has been incredible and like everybody has been together and they really miss Nicole, blah, 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 blah. And she's like, do you really have to leave us again so soon? Like, I feel like we only just got you back, because she's saying she has this like year-long job she might have to go away for. And she's like, hey, I don't even know if this is like a sure thing. So just so you know, but it's clearly the Missy thing. And she's like, we don't even know where you're going. And she's like, I told you about Missy. And she's like, you told me about a woman who doesn't seem to exist. And she's like, well, she does exist. It's like the whole like girlfriend in Canada situation. And her sister's like, maybe you should invite her to Christmas dinner then. And she's like, okay, maybe I will. And she's like, night, Nicole, love ya. And she's like, love you. And she's waiting for Missy to show up. And then Missy's here through the chimney. Woohoo! And she's just like, oh, Nicole, hey. And Nicole's like, it's so good to hear your voice. And Missy is like, I got your letters. I think you might have beat out little Timmy Turner for the most Santa letters in 1 year. Pretty impressive, actually. And she's like, yeah, I had little else to do all year. Like, I don't know if you read them, but I quit my corporate job and like I've been doing better. I did a little small photography things on the side. Thank you for the camera. I can't tell you how much it means to my family. And they were so excited to get the photos back. And then she takes a picture of Missy and she's like, I don't know if I can let you keep that picture. And she's like, take it with you then and take me too. And Missy's like, Nicole, and she's like, please don't leave me here. I just want to be with you, yada 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 yada. And then she was like, I was gonna say you probably should come home tonight because you left your glasses at my place. And Nicole is like, classic move, right? Haha. And she's like, I'm lame. And she's like, no, you are Nicole Strobe. You're 30 years old. You started believing in Santa again exactly 1 year ago today. From this day forward, ... you're mine. Oh my God. It's just Santa. Why are we so possessive? Whatever. They're making out, fumbling around. And she's like, how do you feel about spending Christmas Day with my family? Because they'd really like to meet you because I'm about to disappear with you for a year. And she's like, that sounds perfect, precious. I do have to deliver some more stuff. Do you want to join me? And she's like, I would miss it for the world. Missy epilogue. Woohoo! We're gonna skip most of this because it is a sex scene. Candy cane appendage is back, okay? And it's great. And then they crawl into each other's arms on the couch and Missy's like, what is it? And she's like, we need to talk, baby. And she's like, oh my God, she's breaking up with me. I knew she would. Like, I knew this was coming. Like, there's only a handful of days left on before the planet realigns with Earth. Like, I just didn't think it would happen today. It's her choice. I have to respect it, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, okay, I'm listening. And she's just like, can we spend Christmas Day at my sister's this year? And Missy's like, of course we can. Like, I loved seeing them and I would love to be included. And Nicole's like, good. And Missy's like, that's not the only thing you wanted to talk about. And she's like, no, it isn't. Like, I was wondering if we could get me home like early in the morning on Christmas Eve so I can spend the day at my dad's place because I want to take advantage of the 48 hours that, you know, the Earth is aligned up with this place. And she's just like, you're not going back for the year? And she's like, of course not. And she says, I love you in Elvish. And then she's like, wherever you is wherever you are is my home. And she loves her to the void and beyond. Woohoo. And she's like, you know, you just about frightened the stockings right off of me. I love your family. And she's like, I know you do. I wasn't nervous to ask that. I'm nervous to ask the next question. I'm not sure how you're going to react. And she's like, you can ask me anything always. Like, I don't want you to feel uncomfortable. Nicole is just like, would you ever be willing to tell my family who you are? And Missy's like, oh, I don't know about that because of the rules and yada yada. And she's like, I know you usually wipe people's memories, but what if we offered to bring them back here with us? What if they chose to live here and then they wouldn't be watchers anymore? Like, we don't have to tell them anytime soon, but they're my family and maybe someday down the road the perfect moment will present itself. I just wanted to know if that's ever been done before, if it's possible. Honestly, they wouldn't have to pay any bills. I think they should all sign up for the I want to live in Elfland trip, all right? But she considers it and she's like, for you, I will do my best to make it possible. And she's like, you'd really rather stay here with me than live in your native galaxy. Like, you'll have to watch everything you've ever known come to an end. And she's just like, even forever with you wouldn't be long enough. And she's laughing a little bit and Missy's like, why are you laughing? And she's like, I just realized you're my glass slipper because of the Cinderella crap. And she's like, you're my happily ever after, Missy Claus. And she's like, it's an honor to love you, Nicole Strobe. And they're kissing, blah, blah, blah. And they're gonna do it again, because that's what these books are all about. And they're like, all right, precious, forget about the nice list and show me just how naughty you can be. The end. So, conclusion. Woohoo! Christmassy conclusion. I was deeply surprised by this book. I thought it was going to be really stupid, and a lot of it kind of was, but at the same time, like, there was some I felt like pretty insightful discussions about like divorce and the way that that can affect people, and also like grief. So it was very interesting. My main complaints are we didn't commit to Krampus. The next one I want to read better be committing to goddamn Krampus, okay? Don't be a hot woman who turns into Krampus, just be a woman Krampus, okay? Stop being cowards. Also, I just feel like the ornament smashing it was too much. Like that's just because it was triggering to me personally, okay? Pissed me the hell off. I was like, yeah. What did I rate this book? I rated this book 3.5 stars. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it. And honestly, it's one of the better ratings so far for this awful Christmas season. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Maybe leave a little Santa emoji or a little reindeer or a little Christmas tree, something like that. Tell me what you thought of this book. Have you guys been reading any good books for this holiday season? Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so that you can hear my kind of wrathful wrap up, because most of these that I've read are terrible. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!